Live from the Busch Light Studios.
Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Hell yeah! We got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives.
Bill said you had very motivational words at halftime.
Hold the road, hold the road, hold the road, hold the road.
It's Halftime with Phil Elson, produced by Matt Travis.
I put my heart up. Let's go, man.
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half. Second half, very happy.
Do we believe?
Yes, sir. 30 minutes for the rest of our lives. Hold the road, hold the road, hold the road. 1, 2, 3. Turn that down, your ball.
Now, here's Phil Elson.
Had a night to myself last night, and didn't have the kids to worry about, nothing to do, so a couple of things to worry about for Arkansas football on Saturday, but most of that stuff's been taken care of. So I had a chance to just sit back and watch a little football on the big screen last night, and I gotta say, man, I couldn't watch more than a few plays of the NFL game last night on Prime Video. What have they done? I mean, Thursday night football's never been the premier game of the week. Maybe a couple of times each season you get that. Thanksgiving's always going to be an entertaining day. You get three games, but Prime Video does not get the Thanksgiving package, even though it's a Thursday. They've had crap for a couple of weeks in a row. So, there was a college football game going on at the same time, and wow, was that a fun one to watch. I don't know any reason to be watching last night's NFL game. Now, next week might be a little bit better with New Orleans and the Arizona Cardinals. I did check on some of the college football games next Thursday. The NFL game might be a little bit better. There is a South Alabama-Troy matchup out of the Sun Belt, which probably would be an entertaining game. I mean, you're looking for entertainment, right, when you put the television on? And probably if you're listening to this show, then you're entertained by football. But how could you have been entertained by a snooze fest last night? Now, it might have been an exciting ending with Chicago falling just short of the goal line just before it was all zeros. But, I mean, you've had one touchdown on Thursday night NFL football in the last 2 weeks. Man, and some people might claim that they really enjoy watching defensively minded football. But I would also kind of call you out and call you a little bit of a liar at the same time when it came right. You want to see action. Yeah, you want to see hits. You want to see guys getting run over, but at the same time, you want to see some points. And there were hardly any points to speak of for either Washington or Chicago last night. And really, I mean, I think the best point yesterday was made by the one and only Al Michaels.
The owners have a meeting scheduled in New York on Tuesday. It is not currently on the agenda. Just my feeling, I think what the league would love is for Snyder to sell the team. Not have to go to a vote, but just sell the team. Because it's become a major problem around the league, obviously. And we'll see what happens. I think it's got a long way to go, and Dan, very well known for digging his heels into the ground.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly, I think, from Al Michaels, because Snyder was in attendance in his own stadium yesterday, the stadium that was ripped to shreds by in the ESPN article that came out yesterday. And, of course, Snyder also does not come off very well at all, the way that he has been portrayed. And I think it has more to do with the way that he acts around people and acts towards people that are underneath him and that he works with as far as the NFL ownership fraternity is concerned. And, boy, the pressure's being put on because now on the national telecast, one of the most, if not the most respected broadcaster in all of sports, just basically says it sounds like it's time for him to sell the team. So that actually was more entertaining than the game yesterday, and so was Ron Rivera's press conference. I mean, you got to feel a little bit for the guy that's hired by Dan Snyder and then has to answer questions about him and really isn't interested in that at all.
No, what's important is these guys, okay? For the last couple of weeks, honestly, I'm gonna speak my mind for a second. It's been hard. It really has. You lose 4 games in a row, and everybody wants to get you, just get on you. And they've played their asses off. They have. They play their asses off for everybody. They come out and they show up. They work hard. All right? They don't complain. Okay? They hear all this stuff, and they got to deal with it. I get that, and I respect them for that because they're resilient. They come back. Everybody keeps wanting to say, I didn't want anything to do with Carson. Well, I'm the guy that pulled out the sheets of paper, that looked at the analytics, that watched the tape in the fricking when we were at Indianapolis. Okay? And that's what pisses me off because the young man doesn't deserve to have that all the time. I'm sorry, I'm done.
And he just stormed right out after that. And it sounded like he didn't throw a chair. He didn't go Bobby Knight with it, but he definitely got a little bit angry with the chair for a moment. So you could have just waited until the press conferences to watch the most entertaining part of yesterday's NFL game. Or you just could have turned over to ESPN and enjoyed a classic Big 12 college football game. I know for a while we kind of expected and might have even joked about the upcoming death of the Big 12. No, don't do that, man. We get some entertaining football out of the Big 12. With Baylor and West Virginia going back and forth yesterday. Over 80 points, over 1,100 yards, and crazy plays. I mean, we had an extra point blocked return for a 2-point conversion that gave West Virginia some momentum, and they end up winning 43-40 in what was just such a fun game to watch. And I just can't understand. Did anybody that's listening right now stay for the entire NFL game on Prime Video last night? I can't imagine that you did, and I can't imagine any reason that you would have. So I'm told so often that the pro game is boring. It matters on the matchup. It matters on the matchup. And you're going to see lower scoring games in the NFL than you will see in college football. But, I mean, you always will. I think it just seems now for the Thursday night games, it's pretty much garbage. But there will be better games in the offing, I guess, because you can't just spend. Can you spend over $1 billion on a Thursday night package and get crap all over for an entire 17-week schedule? I think they're showing 16 games because again they don't get the games on Thanksgiving. Anyway, so we got a Friday here, and the sun is shining brightly. It's great to be with you today on Halftime. We yesterday made the big announcement. Matt Jones joining us for forever. I'll just put it out there. He's never going to leave. He's joining us at 1 o'clock today for the last hour of the show, and then we'll be in studio starting Monday as our co-host for the foreseeable future, along with Matt Travis there inside the studio. So we've got Matt on later, Tommy Kraft already. He's been in Utah for a few days. We tried to get with Tommy yesterday, but I guess just like so many other vacationers, because I think a lot of people have taken the opportunity to vacation to Utah and to the Arkansas BYU football game. I guess he was in one of those areas that just has crappy cell phone coverage, but that's not the case today. I think he's in Salt Lake City, so we'll be able to talk with him about that. And Aaron Torres joining us in just a few minutes. We'll go over some of his thoughts on what to put your money on for college football weekend and maybe in the NFL as well. You have 3 baseball games on the schedule today. You got the rain out from Cleveland and the Yankees yesterday, so they moved it to an afternoon game at Yankee Stadium. And you might have seen on my Twitter, if you do follow, I really do like the Indians, just for the money line more than anything else. When I checked it last, it was plus 125 Cleveland. Now think about the atmosphere at Yankee Stadium being one of the more difficult things to deal with if you're a pitcher. But the atmosphere's got to be different. At 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 12 o'clock Central Time, it's going to be 1 o'clock Eastern Time. But, out of the 15 million people that live around New York City, I'm sure they'll find enough of them that can show up for an afternoon game on a Friday and fill the place. But it's a different situation. The lights aren't bright. They won't even have to turn the lights on at Yankee Stadium. So the atmosphere changes during a daytime playoff game. You just don't see a lot of those any longer. And certainly when it comes to the Division Series and then the Championship Series and the World Series, playing an afternoon game is anathema. They just don't do it anymore. But it's forced into the schedule today, and I think that gives Cleveland a little bit of an edge, especially with Shane Bieber on the mound. If I had money to put on it, I'd be going on the Cleveland Indians, the Cleveland Guardians. Apologies for that today. All right. So that's the start of our show here. And in just a moment, we've got Aaron Torres joining us to talk about some college football. And, hey, since you got the red-white game on Sunday at Barnhill, got a question or so in him about the Razorback basketball team. Brought to you by The Fence Man. Call them at 479-782-3936 if you need anything that deals with a fence or gates for your fence, or you just want your business to have a little more security and a little better look and more curb appeal. The Fence Man's got all you need to do all of that as well. 18 months, same as cash financing. That's 479-782-3936. The Fence Man ain't afraid of no work. Aaron Torres joins halftime after this.
Listen to every Razorback football game this season right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Nobody will give you more for your trade than Harry Robinson. Saddlesall Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off of I-40 in Saddlesall. We say it all the time, more for your trade. What does that really mean, Troy?
It means more money for your trade. It means a cheaper payment. It means a better equity position on the vehicle you're purchasing. It means a better interest rate. When you go to trade that vehicle back in that you're purchasing, you're going to be in a better equity position. So come down here and see us. Harry Robinson's where you want to buy your next vehicle. We don't just have the best prices on the vehicles that we're selling, but we are the home of more for your trade, and we want to hold to that. So why not come down, get a steal of a deal on the vehicle you're purchasing, and get more money for your trade?
Why is it that Harry's willing to do things that other dealers can or won't?
It's just something that Harry wants to maintain being different for the customer and do what we can to earn your business.
Harry Robinson, Saddlesall Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off of I-40 in Saddlesall, and online at harryrobinson.com.
This is Bruce Stanton, Vice President and General Manager of Pradco Fishing in Fort Smith. If you're going to do some cold water bass fishing, you need to be using a Umbrella Flash Mob Jr. It's the best lure for duplicating a small school of shad and can be worked from the top of the water column to the bottom. Whether you're trying to win a bass tournament or whoop up on a bunch of white bass and stripers, the Umbrella Flash Mob Jr. will catch them. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place, the Umbrella Flash Mob Jr.
Flu season will be here before you know it, and Law's Drug Store in Fort Smith has the regular and 65-plus senior flu shots ready now to care for you and your family. Law's Drug Store has COVID vaccinations and boosters available for ages 5 and up, as well as shingles, pneumonia, and whooping cough vaccines. Call 452-6116 and schedule your flu or vaccine shot appointment, or stop by Law's Drug Store, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drug Store opens 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Get by your locally owned TGI Fridays in Fort Smith and make it a double combo with the Jamie Foxx Fox on the Rocks box with Friday's big ribs and wings served with seasoned fries in one of our 2 new awesome sauces. The new Fox on the Rocks barbecue sauce made with BSB brown sugar bourbon flavored whiskey and whiskey glaze blaze. And now Fridays has $2 beer all day every day. So stop by your locally owned TGI Fridays at I-540 and Rogers in Fort Smith.
Watch every Hog game this season at Joe's Grill and Cantina, your home for half-price apps and taps during every Hog game. With TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat for all the action. Half-price appetizers like Joe's Sampler Platter, Ballpark Nachos, Tin Layer Dip, Brisket Nachos, and Mexican Pizza. And ask about Joe's Tailgate Packages to make your football experience even better in the comfort of your home. Half-price apps and taps for every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
Ride without compromise. CF Moto's brand new U-Force 1000 XL with 2 3-person bench seats to haul more rear ends as you haul butt. Auto Finders in Adventure, Oklahoma has the perfect CF Moto for any road you choose. Get some serious mud on the tires with aluminum rims, custom paint, power steering, and a 3,000-pound winch. No wonder the CF Moto is Auto Finders' best kept dirty little secret. Ride without compromise at Auto Finders in Adventure, Oklahoma in Roland. Visit a complete list of inventories online at autofindersok.com. Your search ends here.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
to have a little talk with you.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text into Halftime at 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson.
All right, let's get right to the phones. And Aaron Torres joining us from the Aaron Torres Sports Podcast, Fox Sports Radio, Aaron Torres Media, and a lot going on over there. AT, we got a big weekend of college football games. Lots of really good matchups to get a look at and put money on if you're so inclined. So, I'm pretty excited about what we've got. And Arkansas at BYU, so it should be a pretty good weekend.
First of all, great to join you as always, Phil. This is a fun one, man. It's crazy to think that I think there are some teams that we don't know a lot about at this point in the year. Penn State being one of them, Michigan being one of them. You go on and on down the list. Obviously, the big one at Neyland Stadium. I think we probably know a little bit about the Vols. But as we discussed last week, Bryce Young, is he playing? Is he not playing? I don't know. So it's just one of those deals, man, where it's a really fun time of year. I think the cream is really starting to rise. I think we're really starting to see who's who and what's what. This should be a really fun Saturday of college football.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of like a separation Saturday in some cases.
I agree.
And certainly when it comes to the Big Ten East, it definitely is. And, I mean, this is the time of the year that always happens. You get an undefeated Michigan team, you get an undefeated Penn State team. Neither of them have really faced anybody. And now they face off against each other, too. So, I mean, it separates those two teams until one of them plays against Ohio State later in the season.
Oh, 1,000%. And, I think there are two teams I don't think we know a ton about, right? Michigan has not played a team that's currently ranked in the top 25. I guess in theory, Iowa was at one point ranked in the top 25, but, they haven't played anybody close to their talent level. And then I think Penn State's a really interesting one, right? Because we had that great moment where they go to Jordan-Hare Stadium and they take care of business against Auburn in a dominant fashion, control the line of scrimmage, and they are the buzz of college football for a day or two. Well, fast forward 3 or 4 weeks, whatever it was since that game, I think we just realized Auburn's not very good. And so we're going to learn a lot. And then, I'm curious because Ohio State looks so good. They're steamrolling everybody, but at some point it's going to get tougher for them. And to your point, Phil, I do kind of think this is the game where I think we'll realize, who's the better matchup, who's this, who's that. Is either of them really a threat? J.J. McCarthy is now the starter for Michigan. Penn State is, the veteran quarterback, but they seem to have a run game. So anyway, I just bring it up to say I'm really excited. I would say in some ways I am more excited about that Penn State-Michigan game than I am Alabama-Tennessee, although obviously I am very excited about Tennessee-Alabama as well.
All right, well, I was going to say, what is it about Alabama-Tennessee that you move that behind Penn State-Michigan? Is it the winning streak Alabama's got over them? I mean, what is it you feel about that game that's just a little bit meh?
Well, I'll be honest, I don't know that anything from either team's perspective from the Tennessee-Alabama game is going to change for me, unless Tennessee, dominates. And, like if Bryce Young plays and is at 100% and Tennessee wins, 38-13, then, the perception changes. But, I think we all think that Tennessee is probably in that second tier behind Alabama and Georgia. We probably think that Alabama can lose this game if Bryce Young doesn't play. But I don't know that, fundamentally my opinion on one of these two teams is going to change unless again, either Alabama completely dominates Tennessee and it's not even competitive, or the exact opposite, Tennessee dominates Alabama. And I think we would have questions about Alabama and Tennessee as well. So that to me is probably it. Phil, I just look at it and I just sit there and say, man, I just feel like you said to kind of open the segment, we're going to learn who that definitive number 2 team is in the East. And obviously, if one of them wins big, it sets up an intriguing matchup down the road against Ohio State. So that, to me, I just think we're going to learn a little bit more about those 2 Big Ten teams than we are either Tennessee or Alabama.
The other top 25 matchup in the SEC is Mississippi State traveling to Lexington to take on what is right now a reeling Kentucky team that we still don't know the availability of Will Levis. Now, keep in mind, it's a foot injury. So I think one of the things about Levis that makes him who he is and a top NFL prospect is not just his size, but his ability to use that and get out and run. So I think if he plays, I mean, Mississippi State now 2 weeks in a row facing a team that isn't sure if their running quarterback is going to be able to get out there and do his thing. And we saw what happened last week with Arkansas. KJ didn't play, and the Hogs were kind of behind the eight ball from the very start. And I would assume it'd be the same thing with Levis. I got to tell you what, though, from what I saw from Mississippi State, even with Levis, and not a fully healthy Levis, I would take the Bulldogs anyway.
So a couple things. One, to go back to Alabama, Tennessee for a second, I think one of the questions that I think people are asking the wrong question about Alabama, Tennessee. Everybody's saying, is Bryce Young going to play? I think the question should be what percentage will Bryce Young be even if he does play? Right. And to me, it's the same with Kentucky versus Mississippi State. Will Levis is back. Okay, cool. Well, he, like you said, he's a running quarterback that was so hurt last week he could not play with a lower body injury. I do not believe, and I don't have a medical degree, but I do not believe that puts him and the team in an advantageous position. But then I think part of it, too, is Mississippi State. This was a team I was higher on coming into the year than most. Third-year quarterback in a Mike Leach system. You add in a veteran defense that was really good last year. And it's really funny, Phil. I mean, you look at this Mississippi State team. I think all 5 of their wins are by double figures. Their only loss was to LSU in a game where they led going into the fourth quarter. And remember, that was they had a second straight road game. They had played the week before at Arizona in an 11 Eastern kickoff, 10 Central. Fly back after the game. They have to go back on the road to LSU, and they led going into the fourth quarter. So, a little bit of a different scheduling break here or there. I think they easily could be 6-0, and we'd probably be talking about them in that same class of Ole Miss and Tennessee, who is the third team in the SEC. So I'm really excited for this game. And then it is worth noting, Mississippi State goes to Tuscaloosa next week. Now, I know Alabama has largely had Mike Leach's number since he got to the SEC, but I just bring it up to say, it's not going to get any easier for Alabama because I think I'm with you. I think this Mississippi State team is really good. I think they win to move to 6-1 this week, and I think it sets up another interesting game for Alabama next Saturday.
Have you seen the line Arkansas BYU? It has been swinging, man. I mean, I see on ESPN they got it as an even line. On Bet Saracen, BYU's favored by 1.5. I've seen Arkansas favored earlier in the week. The point line extended. It started at 63. It's up to 66. So, I mean, there have been some pretty wild swings, especially for two teams right now that have had some trouble starting, and both quarterbacks have not been fully healthy of late. What do you think, Arkansas BYU? It's our first trip ever into Utah.
What a stat. This is just one. I'll just be honest, though. I really have no strong opinions, right? Because there's a lot of, the way that I look at it from the Arkansas perspective, there's a lot of different variables at play here. Obviously, J.J. Jefferson, we expect him to play, but again, 100%. And I know it was a concussion. It's different than a physical injury, but how is he, all that stuff. Normally, I always worry about a team going into a bye, especially traveling the way that Arkansas will. But on the flip side, you're on a 3-game losing streak, and so I would think that you're going to get the best effort from Arkansas that you can. And then from the BYU perspective, I think it's kind of the same, where early in the season they beat Baylor, and we have all these great, what-if hypothetical conversations about them. Well, they've lost to Oregon. They obviously lost last week to Notre Dame in Vegas. And, the schedule for them really lightens up after this game. So in theory, you would think that this would be a big one for them. They're coming off a loss to Notre Dame. They're back home, great crowd. It won't be a night game, which is a little bit of a disappointment, but it's just, I just don't really have a strong opinion. I can't plant my flag and say, I really like Arkansas because of this. I really like BYU because of this. Obviously, I know early in the week when we got the KJ Jefferson news, it felt like a lot of people really gained confidence in Arkansas. I would lean Arkansas, but again, to your point, what is it, about 2,000 miles of travel going into a bye on a 3-game losing streak? It's just wild to think about.
Hey, I started the show, talking about why would anybody have watched last night's NFL game if not for just hearing Al Michaels talk about Dan Snyder and sell the team chants and everything. There was an incredible Big 12 game yesterday with Baylor and West Virginia, and I kind of like in my mind now. I used to be, all right, I'll put on the NFL game because it's NFL on a Thursday night, and I'm starting to change my mindset because Thursday night college football is probably more entertaining.
Well, those Thursday night games used to be awesome, and then, it was always like there was something weird always going on Thursday nights, and then really when the NFL kind of got into the Thursday night thing probably about 7-8 years ago now, it really, Phil, you and I are old enough to remember, I think it used to be like 1 or 2 Thursdays a year there'd be an NFL game, and then it became every week. And so I only bring it up to say that whenever we get college football on a weeknight, it always just feels like, especially big brands, big programs, just feels like weird stuff happens. Thursday night, West Virginia is a great crowd, a great atmosphere to watch a game. And I hope we get more of them. I haven't looked at the schedule. It feels like, to use a bad pun, that college football has basically punted on trying to have marquee games on Thursdays, but doesn't mean that you can't get good ones. And I'm with you. I kind of watched the last probably quarter or so of that Baylor game when I realized, how bad that NFL game was, how unwatchable it was. It was a fun finish. The Big 12, I'll say this, Phil. I love college hoops, and one of the things about the Big 12, through the years in hoops, there really hasn't been any separation between the top and the bottom. There's just generally a bunch of really good teams. I kind of feel the same with Big 12 football this year, with the rise of a school like Kansas, with the rise of a school like TCU, which obviously fired Gary Patterson this year. There are teams that are better than others, but I don't think there's that much of a gap between 1 and 10, unless, of course, you think Oklahoma's that bad and they're significantly worse than everybody else. But it's a fun league to watch. It's a fun league to monitor because there's just a lot of fun teams in that league, and Thursday night was a good example of that.
All right, you mentioned you're a college basketball guy, and Kevin Warren is the latest of the commissioners to speak openly about the basketball tournament being expanded, or at least he said these are things we have to look into. Greg Sankey spoke about this.
You broke that news at SEC Media Days, didn't you?
I don't know. We broke the news.
I think you did.
Did we break any news on that? I just remember Sankey coming on and refuting the initial report. I forget who it came from about excluding conference champions and basically trying to take away some of those Cinderellas. But it does feel. I mean, everybody's got an opinion on this. I think 68 is a great number. I don't know why we need to go any higher than that. What's your opinion on a possibly expanded NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I mean, we're now getting all of the power brokers, and it's generally, Phil, and I think you and I have been doing this long enough to know, when you get 2, 3, 4 powerful people kind of publicly hinting that, hey, this is something we should consider, that generally means it's going to get done. We're just kind of letting you know ahead of time. And that's the vibe that I get. And it's something that I'll be blunt. I don't know that anybody wants, right? Like, we can have a fun debate about the college football playoff expansion, and I think everybody's in favor of it. We can have a fun debate about NFL playoff expansion, which added a 7th team in each conference last year. I don't know anybody that wants expansion except for power conference commissioners that know that the new system would absolutely benefit them. And here's my thing, Phil. This is in college football, where even by the end of the year, you play 12 games, there can be a debate over who should be in and who shouldn't be. If you get through 68 or through 34 regular season games plus a conference tournament, and you can't decide, and you haven't established yourself as a tournament caliber team, you're not good enough. And by the way, Phil, do you know what the big argument is about why they're expanding it? I don't know if you saw this, but Greg Sankey is basically pushing that because Ole Miss was the last team in the college baseball tournament last year and they won a national championship, he's conveniently using that as an excuse to say, we could be leaving out some teams that are good enough to win it. Well, Phil, I always use this stat, and I'm going to keep using it. Last 15 years of the NCAA tournament, 11 number 1 seeds have won. The top number 2 seed won one year with Villanova in 2016. And the only 2 times that a number 1 or the top 2 seed hasn't won was my UConn Huskies in 2011 and 2014 when they had Kemba Walker and Shabazz Napier, who were the best player in college basketball in that given year. And so I bring it up because Greg Sankey, and you can push back on him on this, and I know you can't, but I'm just saying hypothetically you could. There is no tangible proof over the last 20 years that anyone that is good enough to win the championship is being left out of the tournament. As a matter of fact, I'd argue that the number of teams that are good enough to win it is actually much smaller than people give credit to at the beginning of the tournament. Essentially, we have a almost 2-decade sample size that if you're not a top 5 team, or if you are not having the best player in the tournament on your roster that can just take over a tournament, you're not going to win the thing. So, I'm going to use my platform to push it. I give other people in my industry and our industry credit. I've seen, John Rothstein and a few others say the same. This isn't something anybody wants. This isn't something anybody wants except for conference commissioners that are going to get their 9th, 10th, 11th best team in. I hate it. I hope we keep it the way it is. I don't think we will, though, unfortunately.
I think, and I understand why Greg Sankey would point to Ole Miss in this situation, but it's a little bit apples to oranges because baseball is not basketball. And I don't know, why couldn't he have pointed to the idea of I played the world's smallest violin for Buzz Williams when A&M was the last team left out of the tournament. You're going to tell me that A&M team had what it took to win a national championship? Because that's the line I draw. Not Ole Miss winning the baseball championship, because college baseball and college basketball are different sports. I point to, Are you telling me that A&M could have won the national championship? Give me a break.
And so here's my point on that. I know some people at A&M, and they were obviously really disappointed, right? They've gone this great run in the conference tournament, beat Auburn, beat Arkansas, lose to Tennessee in the title game. They also lost at one point. It was either 6, 7, or 8. I think they had a 6-game losing streak in the middle of the season, okay? And I'm not saying that by the end of the year they weren't a different team, but this is supposed to be a 5-month-a-year sport, and it's not supposed to be a 2-week-a-year sport. And so every team that is on the bubble that doesn't get in, they can point to a week, a month, a year, 1 or 2 really bad losses to small schools that they shouldn't have taken. You can point to those spots on the schedule and say, we had our chances and we blew them. And this is why you have to take a February game against Vanderbilt or a December game against, Central Connecticut seriously, because, I like you said, the world's smallest violin is right. And I want to look this up really quick, Phil, because I think it was about a month straight. They lost to Kentucky on January 19th. And they did not win again until February 15th, Phil. From January 19th to February 15th, they did not win a game. And this is a team that we're supposed to feel terrible for because they didn't make the NCAA tournament. Give me a break now. Come on, give me a break. That's an 8-game losing streak, by the way. 7-game losing streak.
It's exactly the way that I looked at it, too. All right, we'll leave it there. And have a great weekend. Enjoy the football, and we'll get back again next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Have a great weekend as well. We'll speak soon. Thank you.
You got it. It's Aaron Torres from Aaron Torres Sports Media, Fox Sports Radio, and the Aaron Torres Sports Podcast. Gives us some of his time every Friday. Yeah, it really does seem, and the more you think about it, the more Aaron's explanation is, I think, right. When it's the conference commissioners of the big conferences, they're worried more about getting more of their teams in. More bids, more available bids means more big programs get into the tournament. I don't think we need more than 68 teams in the college basketball tournament. I really don't. I do know that you need to be at Joe's Grilling Cantina for this Saturday's Razorback football game because they got half-price apps and half-price taps with the game on, and you won't miss any play because they got a television everywhere you're looking at Joe's Grilling Cantina. Plus, you get all your favorite apps and your favorite beers that are half-price during the game. Joe's Grilling Cantina in Fort Smith, 3400 South 74th, open Tuesday through Saturday. We'll be back with more halftime. A quick break.
Home is everything. It's your sanctuary. Your video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned. Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite. White perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. Bet online, where the game starts.
Ed Sheeran used to sing in the church choir, but now bad habits reveal his desire. The old saying goes, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. God knows you can't overcome. That's why the faith that saves is trusting what Jesus has already done. There's nothing else you can say or use or do. Bad habits lead to doom. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Sometimes wounds just don't heal, and when they don't, reach out to the Tulsa Wound Center. They provide chronic wound care using all the latest technologies such as hyperbaric oxygen therapy, shockwave therapy, skin substitutes, and more. When it comes to life and limb, experience matters. Make sure you are being seen and treated by an experienced and certified wound physician. Founder and medical director Dr. Lam Lee has been a prominent wound care and hyperbaric physician for over 15 years. 10,000 patients can't be wrong. Online at TulsaWoundCenter.com or call 918-561-6661.
Searching for the best UTV on the market but can't find it with any of the big name brands? That's where the Intimidator comes in. An American brand using American-made steel and built in Arkansas. Intimidator UTVs offer premium components as standard, unlike those other companies. Items such as doors, skid plates, heavy-duty frames, and comfortable seating, all at one comparable price. See why Intimidator UTVs are the best choice by visiting your local dealer, Horns Outdoor in Hot Springs, or visit hornsoutdoor.net.
Hi, I'm Mike Van Jr. with Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. You can count on my team to provide top quality pressure washing and exterior cleaning services for your property.
What all do you service?
Fence washing, gutter, or deep concrete cleaning for your home, commercial business, and more.
Do you have insurance?
Absolutely. We're covered with liability insurance, and we also use safe and effective wash methods, leaving your home or business looking brand new.
I guess I need to go to your website, mjmobilewash.com.
Or just give me a call at 479-763-5561.
Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash.
Love and happiness. But wait a minute, something going wrong. Someone's on the phone. 3 o'clock in the morning.
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith in the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs in Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Now back to the host. Here's Phil Elson.
All right, let's open the phone lines for calls and texts, 877-377-6963 to get with us on the show. And give me your thoughts on this game and the importance of this game for Arkansas against BYU tomorrow. Give you a thought I got. I think this means just as much to BYU, and for different reasons. When you look at Arkansas, yeah, the schedule certainly does get a little bit easier moving forward. It's not to say that you have easy games still. I don't think there are many of them. Even Auburn, that's not going to be easy. You're traveling out there. And that's a tough thing to do. Arkansas has not shown that they can travel and win a game yet this year. Got to do that tomorrow, and we'll see about that. For Arkansas, you're trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. You're trying to basically get the ship righted before you go into a bye week. A bye week where you really just kind of sit and think on what just happened the week before. So it's about getting healthy and everything, and maybe getting your mind right and forgetting about the first 6 weeks of the season, 7 weeks of the season. But you are still left with the last result. There's no doubt about that. For BYU, they're looking right now for a marquee win. Now, they don't have the most exciting schedule moving forward. You got Liberty. Liberty's good. ECU's all right. Boise, not really having the kind of year that I think we're used to Boise having. Utah Tech and Stanford, the remaining teams on the schedule. So there's only one more program for BYU that plays in the Power Five, and Stanford is terrible this year. So this is their last chance to have what I think you would view as a marquee win. And right now the marquee win for BYU is against Baylor, and maybe a Baylor team that isn't quite as good as advertised when they lost to BYU, and they were ranked in the top 10 at that moment. And they played an exciting game last night, but Baylor still lost on the road to West Virginia. They've had opportunities, BYU has, for marquee wins. And a win over Baylor, I think, could qualify as that, but then a loss at Oregon, they got blown out there, and lost by 8 last week to Notre Dame. So this is really the last chance for BYU to have what I think you would view as a marquee win. And anybody playing out of the SEC when you're traveling on the road, I think is going to be treated like that. So, I mean, that's why they have the whiteout for this game. That's why they scheduled a homecoming for the Arkansas game. Sell this place out, turn it into a madhouse, and I think the fans are treating it exactly the way that Arkansas would have treated, playing like against Alabama. I mean, that might be a little bit strong of a comparison, but, every time Alabama comes in to Fayetteville, anytime Alabama goes anywhere, that's why it's being treated like this in Knoxville. Also because the Tennessee's playing well. When those two things come together, the Alabama game is like, the Cowboys, going on the road somewhere, like the Yankees going on the road somewhere. It just is turned into a bigger event than just a regular football game. Now, I think that's sort of the way that BYU views this game against Arkansas. I mean, it's a little bit of a mystery since these programs have never played against each other, and there really isn't a lot that connects the state of Utah to the state of Arkansas. Ronnie Brewer would be one of those things with his time spent with the Utah Jazz. I can't really think much else. So the mystery of it, the fact that it's an SEC team, and I think the fact that BYU really needs a win that they can advertise to bowl selection committees so that they can get themselves into a better bowl game. And that's also part of this for Arkansas, too. I still feel really good about the Razorbacks winning 7 to 8 games, but this could end up, when it's all said and done, you'd like to play after Christmas, I would say. And right now, it's not that it's impossible, but you got to have some sort of a victory over a good team. BYU would be that good team to sort of advertised as that. 877-377-6963 for thoughts on that. The other aspect, too, for BYU, I guess we forget about this, but they're not perennial top 25, but pretty close to it. They just got knocked out of the top 25 for the first time in 14 weeks. So it goes back to about the middle of last year, and a win over Arkansas probably gets BYU back into the top 25. If they'd be 6-2 with a win over an SEC team, I think that would definitely get them back into that. All right, we're going to take a quick break on halftime. Want you to get in your Ask Phil questions. You can text them, you can call them to 877-377-6963, and I'll answer whatever question you got for me, as long as it's respectful. And it's brought to you by the Stadium Shop on Razorback, with all things Razorback at the Stadium Shop. Local, family, and alumni owned. They're located right next to Baum Walker Stadium on Razorback Road. Call Robert and Matt at 479-782-3486. That's 479-STADIUM. Local, family, alumni owned and operated. The Stadium Shop on Razorback is your one-stop shop for everything Razorback. You can also shop online at shop on Razorback.com. All right, quick break on halftime. We're coming back and resetting the first hour, so stay with us.
When you need a good pre-owned vehicle at the best price, you go to Crane Used Car Supercenter because... Don't be frightened this October. It's just the scary good deals from the Crane Used Car Supercenter taking over your radio. Fear not. Come see for yourself and let Joe treat you to 0 down and no payments till next year. That's right, 0 down and no payments till 2023. The frighteningly good deals are at Crane Used Car Supercenter, US Highway 71 in Fort Smith.
At Frank World Furniture, we want you to get this month started off right. So not only do we have no sales tax, but we are marking down every piece of furniture, bedroom furniture, mattresses, and dining sets in the store to unbelievable prices. That's right, marking all furniture down and no sales tax. In-store, no credit check financing, family owned and service after the sale. All American made sofas, love seats, sectionals, and recliners at Frank World Furniture. Best seats in the house.
Hardee's new Charbroiled Double Deals, starting at $2.99 each, have the Academy for New Offerings hailing this double cheeseburger deal as very new indeed. How much more new does it get than the new Bacon Double Cheeseburger and the new California Classic Double Cheeseburger? Not much newer than that. Well, I've got news for the Academy. After this, I'm getting myself a double cheeseburger from this new deal. The new Charbroiled Double Deal starting at $2.99 each at Hardee's. Feed your happy. Tax not included for a limited time. Price and participation may vary. Visit restaurant or app for details.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling offers professional automotive painting, bodywork, and fabrication that is unsurpassed in talent and dedication. Owner Andy Harrod uses the latest in collision repair technology to ensure all damage is addressed, whether it's visible or hidden, and works with all insurance companies. Andy and his crew have the experience and commitment to give you complete trust in the repair of your vehicle, no matter the size of the job. Colorworks is located at 1206 Fort Street in Barling, across from Dollar General, and is on Facebook, where you can check out their work.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
When it comes to your vehicle dent repairs, you want a local professional that you can trust. Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair is your place. Michael, his family, and team have been in the community for over 30 years and are the best in the business. When all the other pop-up hail damage places have packed up and left town, Littleton's is still here taking care of your vehicle every day. Stay local. Stay with the best. Stay with the name you know and trust. Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair. Highway 112 off I-540 in Pecola.
Hey, where's the rest of the beer?
I'm probably out unless you clowns brought some.
Well, I've already had 3. Who's going to get more?
Order it from your phone.
From where?
Sody's delivers.
You mean where my girlfriend gets her wine and those cheese plates?
And if you don't want to drive, that's where you can order it. My free beer is gone.
Sody's now delivers inside Fort Smith city limits. Just order from mysodys.com or download the Sody's app and order from your phone. Sody's Wine and Spirits. Experience different.
Peace of mind in buying a quality and well-maintained vehicle is top priority at Carco Auto Sales. Carco Auto Sales has been serving the River Valley and eastern Oklahoma for over 40 years and offers a variety of late model, low-mileage vehicles at unbeatable values. Come see the team at 2810 Midland Boulevard today or give them a call at 783-1722. You can check them out online at buyfromcarco.com. Carco Auto Sales. When you're ready.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. ESPN Arkansas is headed behind enemy lines to Provo, Utah. Our coverage is presented by High Tech Truck Refrigeration Service. Find them at hightechtruck.com. Washita Farms. Lark is available in 4 amazing flavors in 200 locations throughout Arkansas. And by Crabtree RV. Let's go camping at crabtreerv.com.
dancing. Yes, I do. 'Cause you gotta make the best of life while you're young. Good people, weekend. Just what you wanna do, weekend.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text into Halftime at 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson.
Yeah, basically, the weekend starts in about an hour and 10 minutes. Once we get to 1 o'clock and it's the golden hour and we got Matt Jones sitting in studio, the weekend has pretty much begun. Though I still got to travel out to Provo, so yeah, don't hold your horses just yet. What we will do right now is get a first hour reset.
Reset and refresh. Reset.
The great reset. It's time for the Halftime Reset, giving you all the info and facts you need to make it through the rest of your day in sports.
False start. Both teams back on it. Get back here.
Now, here's Phil Elson with your Halftime Reset.
A couple of former Razorbacks passed away yesterday. Former quarterback John Brittenham died at the age of 78 in South Texas. Two-time All-Southwest Conference passer. He was inducted into the UA Sports Hall of Honor 2021. He led the Razorbacks to 18 wins from 1965 through 1966. That included the undefeated regular season in 65, heading into the Cotton Bowl, where he suffered a separated shoulder in a loss to LSU. Ricky Norton also passed away, former basketball player for Eddie Sutton from the 1981 through 84 Razorback basketball teams. All four of those teams advanced to the NCAA tournament. Norton passed away at the age of 61 in Hot Springs yesterday. He played in 104 games for Arkansas, averaged 4.5 points for his career, but as a starter in his senior year, scored over 8 points per game. That Razorback team won 25 games and finished 8th in the last AP poll. This morning, I saw from the Cardinals Twitter account that Baseball Hall of Famer Bruce Sutter passed away at the age of 69. Sutter, forever remembered as the pitcher who got the final out of the 1982 Cardinals World Series championship, saved 300 games during his 12-year Major League career. Every appearance that Sutter made was as a reliever. And he was one of these closers that was saved just for save situations, but he wasn't just a one-inning pitcher. He was a guy that would go out and throw 2, sometimes 3 innings. And with the Cubs, Cardinals, and Braves, he was the 1979 NL Cy Young winner with Chicago and was one of the most famous pitchers who threw the split-fingered fastball, which, of course, then became all the rage in the late 80s into the 90s. Roger Craig was credited with really teaching that pitch to a lot of pitchers, but Sutter was a guy that showed that it worked in the major leagues, and that's how he ended up getting to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Meanwhile, you've got a baseball series that takes center stage right at the top of the hour. It's going to be an odd one. It's pretty rare, I think, that the Yankees play a day game in October. And Guardians ace Shane Bieber gets the ball today. Of course, this game was rained out last night, so an extra day of rest for the pitchers. Here's Shane Bieber on what he's got to do to pitch to the Yankee lineup.
Damage. I think, especially in this ballpark, they're able to hit for slug and do it with guys on base. So I think, as long as you don't change your game plan, your aggressiveness, and stick to your strengths, put yourself in a good position to at the end of the day, just compete, put the team in a good position to win, and hand the ball off to the bullpen like we've tried to do all year. And like I've said, going into the postseason, I think that's ultimately the goal. So stay aggressive, keep guys off base, no free bases. That'll be the goal tomorrow.
It'll be the first time Bieber faces the Yankees since 2021. Mustache man Nestor Cortes gets the ball for the Yankees, and he makes his postseason debut.
For sure. It's going to be my first playoff appearance, so there's always some excitement and butterflies at the same time. But like I said, I don't think it feels any different from going out there and pitching in front of the same crowd that we have all year. So I'm excited, and I'm ready for the challenge.
And that game's starting again at the top of the hour. We're more like 12:07. It is on TBS. And very interested to see. Again, I'd mentioned earlier, because of the fact that the Guardians throwing Bieber, and he hasn't pitched against the Yankees yet this year. That usually favors the pitcher. And the daytime atmosphere at Yankee Stadium has just got to be a lot different than what it usually is like on an October night. It's rare. I mean, I don't remember the last time. Now, I'm sure it's happened. I just can't in my head remember the last time that the Yankees played a daytime playoff game. So, nighttime at Yankee Stadium, I mean, that's prime time. And that atmosphere is second to none in October. Daytime, it's a whole different thing. So it will be an interesting game. And I know that day games in October are not rare, but for the Yankees, it feels very rare. 877-377-6963. We'll get into the second hour with calls and texts, and Tommy Kraft will check in from Salt Lake City as we move along on halftime.
For a dependable, fuel-efficient tractor from a company committed to the future, choose a Branson tractor. Each of our tractors is backed by a 6-year limited warranty with models available ranging in horsepower from 22 to 58. You are sure to find the tractor that is right for you. Make sure you call or stop in today at the new location for Bush Tractor at 6100 South Zero Street in Fort Smith. Again, that is 6100 South Zero Street in Fort Smith. Or you can check them out online at bushtractor.com.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
When I'm governor, we will educate kids, not indoctrinate them with the left's agenda. We will empower parents, not bureaucrats. And we will prepare students for the workforce, not government dependency. I believe every kid growing up in this state should have access to a quality education, a good job, and a better life right here in Arkansas.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders will fight back against Biden and the radical left's agenda.
Inflation is a pay cut for every Arkansan, and Biden's policies are only making it worse. As governor, I'll begin phasing out the state income tax to give you a pay raise and unleash bold reforms to make Arkansas one of the best places to start and grow a business, creating thousands of new, high-paying jobs.
Fighting back against the radical left, empowering Arkansans. Sarah Huckabee Sanders for governor. Paid for by Sarah for Governor.
At Southern Tire Mart, we look out for you and your vehicle. Come visit us for America's most trusted brands like Michelin Tires and top-of-the-line service. You can depend on Southern Tire Mart and Michelin Tires to keep you rolling. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 exit 14 in Fort Smith, for Michelin tires that fit your needs and service that cares for you like family.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code, Lesson 86. This is how you say, gee willikers, it's a hot one. Let's cool down with some Bud Lights. And that's it for today. Bud Light, crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Sunny sky today. Our high this afternoon in the upper 70s to lower 80s. We'll stay clear tonight. An overnight low near 55 to 59. We may see a few isolated showers to storms across the south on Saturday. Highs in the low to mid 80s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
It is all about the Hogs right now. Listen to every Razorback football game this season right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Good station.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect you.
Live from the Bushlight Studios.
Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
We're going to go get one
and celebrate on somebody else's field.
We got 30 minutes for the rest of our life.
I said you had very motivational words at halftime.
Hold the roll, hold the roll, hold the roll.
It's halftime with Phil Elson, produced by Matt Travis.
I'm putting my heart up. Let's go, man.
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half. Second half, very happy.
Do we believe? Yes, sir. 30 minutes for the rest of our lives. Hold the roll, hold the roll. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Turn that down, Drew
Now, here's Phil Elson.
Going back and forth with Area Dad on Twitter. It sounds like a frustrated Astros fan that doesn't like playing in the daytime. Well, yeah, the Astros play day games in the playoffs because the Yankees get the night games in the playoffs. That's just a fact of fandom. And, hey, more people watch the Yankees. I think that's also a fact. More people root against the Astros, I think, than almost any other team now for years. You had as many people root against the Yankees as you did for, but with the cheating scandal and everything, maybe it's a little bit different now. But more people watch New York baseball than Houston baseball. Even if I think the Astros are a better team this year and would beat the Yankees in a best out of 5 or a best out of 7, that might be the direction we're going in anyway. All right, second hour of halftime, 877-377-6963 to get on the show. Arkansas secondary going to get tested again. You know, you knew it coming into this 3-game stretch. Alabama has the best quarterback in the country, potentially. Mississippi State has one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and that's not just potentially. I think that's just a fact under Will Rogers and the way he runs that offense. And now you get Jaron Hall, who appears to be healthier than he was last week, according to BYU offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick. I mentioned that he didn't practice leading up to the Notre Dame game, and his play did show that through just his second interception of the year, and the offense was stuck in neutral for a good chunk of the game. But Hall's been practicing all week long leading into the Razorback game, so he won't be able to claim I haven't practiced as a reason why he might be shaky or any other reason. BYU also might be getting back their 2 best receivers from last year. Puka Nacua and Gunnar Romney might be, and it's not fully evident yet, but very well could be healthy and play, which would be the first time that they have their top returning receivers in the lineup for the same game this year. And they've also already had a couple of the receivers step into the void and be very productive in Cody Epps and Keanu Hill. This is a very tall group of wide receivers, and if they get back their 2 best, or at least the guys that led them in receiving yards last year, then this assignment for Arkansas gets just a little bit tougher. All right, we got Eddie on hold here. Let's take the phone call. And again, if you got a call or a text, it's 877-377-6963. And Eddie, you're on. How you got?
Thank you for taking my call, Phil. I hope this phone call's a little bit more optimistic. You know, I had fans text me by the dozens, and they said, Eddie, things are not going well. They're down about it, too. But if you're down, hey, it can't happen. And you know what? I thought about what they said, and you know they're right. So if I was stressing a team, I went to my jukebox early this morning. I cranked it up. I wish I could get in the locker room and play for Coach Pittman, all our coaching staff, and our players. And guess what I started off with? I started off with a big hit in the 80s called My Poison, called Something to Believe In. Listen here, players. When you step off at Provo, Utah tomorrow on that playing field at LaVell Edwards Stadium, you got to give yourselves something to believe in. And this win will go a long ways in that. It also will go a long ways to giving the fan base something to believe in the rest of the season. The second song I went to, we've all heard it. I went to Survivor. I'm the Tiger, baby. And listen here. Are we going to rise up tomorrow afternoon and to our rival and beat them? Are we going to accept that challenge? Because that challenge is going to take place 2:30 tomorrow afternoon in Provo. And then the last song I went to Poison. I'm sorry, I went to Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer. And listen to what some of the lyrics Living on a Prayer means. You know, you've got to go do it tomorrow afternoon, but you got to rise up and hold on. Offensive line, hold on and be solid tomorrow. Defensive line, hold that line. If you do, that whistle's going to be blowing back to Fayetteville, and we got a little momentum, baby.
Eddie, I appreciate the call today, man. You sound a lot more optimistic and a lot happier than a couple days ago when you were pointing fingers at Barry Odom. And, I mean, I appreciate you bringing in new music, too, because this is the first time I remember Eddie ever bringing in the hair bands. Yeah, so bring on some cherry pie from Warrant the next time you call, Eddie. And, again, thank you for listening to our show. That was a much different Eddie than we heard. I'm sure that was 2 days ago. Yeah, it was I don't remember if that was yesterday or the day before, but it felt like just a little bit late for the anger that Eddie displayed. But he sounds a lot more optimistic. He sounds more excited about things. Yeah, I think Arkansas's got to get after the quarterback. I think the only reason I don't think you're ever going to see them the rest of this year not blitz and not go with the multiple defensive front. That's what they did for the first 5 games. And for the most part, I think that also did what they were hoping it would do, which would produce more pressure on the quarterback. But the air raid's just a different situation. They're going to have to be able to make Hall move, at least move a little bit. Last week there was no movement from Will Rogers. He could just sit in the pocket and get a look at his progression and just choose where he was going to go with the football. He had a lot of time to survey the scene. And going just with the 3 down linemen, I think that's what they expected at the same time. I think Sam Pittman might have been hoping that somebody wins a matchup at the line of scrimmage, finds a way through, and maybe at least move Rodgers to get him out of the pocket. But that just didn't happen very often. Jaron Hall is a mobile quarterback. I'd be surprised if they get him running very much just because of the shoulder that ailed him last week. But that is one thing that he's good at, I think, is also evading the rush and creating on the fly. But that's the one thing that the Arkansas defense, for the most part, has done well, is pressure the quarterback. We know that they've had trouble in coverage. Coach Pittman on the radio show Wednesday even spoke about they're tough to cover one-on-one. Arkansas has had trouble covering any team that they've played so far this year one-on-one, but that still hasn't kept them from trying to get to the quarterback and create some big plays behind the line of scrimmage. If you can move the quarterback, if you can get to him as he throws the football, then sometimes the one-on-one coverage doesn't quite matter as much because the QB isn't quite sure exactly where he was going to throw the ball to. He's just trying to not get sacked. So getting after Jaron Hall will be huge for this Arkansas defense. They're going to have to do that in order to win this game. And third down, look, Arkansas actually was better on third down against Mississippi State than they had been for most of the season. The only problem is Mississippi State converted on fourth down too often. But on third down, Arkansas did pretty well. State was 5 out of 13, but on fourth down, they were 3 out of 5. And BYU is not a go for it on fourth down very often kind of a team. They've attempted 12 fourth down conversions, successful on 4 of them. But Arkansas just has to be able to win third down, I think, and they might have a chance to offensively because BYU has been a mess on defense on third down. And really, Arkansas has been a bit of a mess on third down, too, defensively. These two teams ranking near the bottom, I was going to say in their conferences. BYU, of course, not in a conference, but they are near the bottom of the nation in third down defensive percentage. And Arkansas actually ranks 96th in the country in defensive third down. I'm looking at the red zone percentage. Yeah, they rank 104th, so a little worse as far as it's concerned nationally. Second worst in the SEC and in the bottom 30 in the nation in defensive third down percentage. BYU ranks right about the same with them. Yeah, 92nd on third down percentage defensively. Third down's always going to be big. Fourth down was the big play last week on both sides. Third down's going to be the big play this week on both sides. All right, we're going to step aside for a break here on Halftime, and Tommy Kraft is coming up out of the city of, I think he's in Salt Lake City. Pretty sure he's in Salt Lake City. That's where he told me he'd be because, well, wherever he was yesterday, we couldn't get a cell phone signal, so we couldn't talk with him. So we'll see what the scene is like in lovely Utah with Tommy Kraft from the Morning Rush. Next, as Halftime continues.
I think you can be awfully proud of the way your fans are with you. I've never seen stands so full of life. The whole state was behind you. There was a spirit there about it, Coach, and that means that your team has done something that's really great for this state.
Thank you, sir. We're very proud of our fans. They've had a big part in the success that we've had.
Listen to every Razorback football game this season right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Traylon down the sideline. Touchdown, Arkansas!
The biggest selection, the best values, and up to $10,000 off on the manager specials at Harry Robinson's Salisbury Ford.
Yes, it's an exciting thing to say. Up to $10,000 off of these manager specials. I mean, if you're looking for a steal of a deal, right when you pull in, take a look to your right. These are units that have been here just a couple of days too long, and we got to get them out of here. We got to make room for new inventory that's coming in. And nothing's wrong with these vehicles. I mean, a lot of them still have factory warranty left on them. Warranty that is still on the vehicle from the manufacturer. And hey, our loss is your gain. You get up to $10,000 off of the manager special row.
And right now, you've got a variety of what's up there.
Yes, cars, trucks. We got some vans up there, SUVs, whatever you're looking for. Come down here and see us. You can get up to $10,000 off of the manager special row. Right when you pull in, take a look to your right.
The best values, the best selection, and up to $10,000 off on the manager specials at Harry Robinson's Salisbury Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off of I-40 in Salisbury.
Norris Material and Supply Flooring Center now offers in-stock vinyl plank flooring starting at 89 cents per square foot. If you're a do-it-yourself kind of person, they have all the materials needed to lay your new flooring, or you can choose their professional installation. Whatever your choice, give them a call today to get a free same-day estimate. Financing available. For the best customer service from flooring to countertops, Norris Material and Supply Flooring Center is your local flooring professional. Check them out online at flooring.norrisms.com or on the corner of Wheeler and South Y, 479-289-7111. Hablamos Espanol.
Get the best value, service, and TV locally with personal service from WOW World of Wireless, your neighborhood professional Dish authorized retailer. Stop in and ask us about the Hopper 3, Dish's most advanced DVR that delivers a premium viewing experience. Tired of running out of DVR space? With the Hopper 3, you can record up to 2,000 hours of your favorite programming and watch your very own favorite channels and DVR recordings anywhere you go on your phone or tablet. Call now. WOW World of Wireless. 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474 for more details. Or online at shopwownow.com. World of Wireless is located at 601 Church Street in Barling next to Frank Rowe Furniture. That's 601 Church Street in Barling. Come see us at our new location.
Monthly equipment fees and other restrictions apply. Recording hours vary. 2,000 hours based on SD programming. Remote viewing requires internet connection and compatible mobile device.
This is Bruce Stanton, Vice President and General Manager of Pradco Fishing in Fort Smith. Our #1 volume lure out of our 20 fishing brands is the Bobby Garland Baby Shad. We make them by the millions in our facility in Fort Smith, and the Baby Shad is without a doubt the #1 soft plastic crappie lure in the U.S. Fish it on a light jig head or underneath a float, and you'll find it's as productive as live bait. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place. The Bobby Garland Baby Shad.
Hardee's new Charbroiled Double Deals, starting at $2.99 each, have the Academy for new offerings hailing this double cheeseburger deal as very new indeed. How much more new does it get than the new Bacon Double Cheeseburger and the new California Classic Double Cheeseburger? Not much newer than that. Well, I've got news for the Academy. After this, I'm getting myself a double cheeseburger from this new deal. The new Charbroiled Double Deal, starting at $2.99 each at Hardee's. Feed your happy. Tax not included for a limited time. Price and participation may vary. Visit restaurant or app for details.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
And now, my friends, you've asked me what makes me sad still, and why my brow is darkened like the clouds upon the hill. Run in your ponies closer, and I'll tell to you my tale of Utah Care, my partner, and his last ride on the trail.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Follow Phil on Twitter at PhilElsonPXP. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson.
We were rounding up one morning when work was almost done.
I think I see Tommy Kraft peeking out from behind a tree somewhere. He is hiding behind enemy lines right now. He does not want to be seen by the enemy, and that's why I don't think he's in Provo right now, so I'm not quite sure how many enemies there might be around him. Brought to you by High Tech Truck Refrigeration Service, Washita Farms, and by Crabtree RV in Alma. Tommy, are you all right wherever you are? You got nobody following you? No double agents you got to worry about?
Phil, I'm sitting outside the Red Iguana, which is supposed to be the top Mexican food joint in Salt Lake City. The sign says "Killer Mexican Food." I hope it's not literal, or this could be it right here. This could be the Last Supper. So,
well, it'd be good enough. I mean, it's Mexican food. If that's going to be my last meal, I guess I'd be pretty happy about it. So, where were you yesterday when we tried to get you on and it didn't work out?
Yeah, I could hear y'all perfectly. You and Clay. I heard Charlie from Camden talking, and I just had another phone conversation with someone else. So I thought I was good. And I was at Dead Horse State Park. It's near Canyonlands. Beautiful spot there in the national park area. And then I went over to Arches. Check that out. That's a must-see if you get here on a vacation. I know you spent some time out here, but I was in the southern part of the state yesterday. I'm in Salt Lake City right now. Drove up here and going to go back to Provo a little bit later on. So there's a lot. It's a beautiful spot out here, no question. I know you've got spent some time out here in your minor league ball days. So. Yeah,
and that's why. So I was listening to Give Me the Hogs Chuck Wednesday, and Chuck had the BYU football pre and post game host, and he wanted to give Razorback fans and listeners a sense of what Utah's like, what Provo's like, and he asked him, tell me one thing that makes Provo stand out, and I answered the question before he did because you notice it when you're there. Utah is the Canada of the United States of America. In that you notice the cleanliness the moment you get off the plane. It's like, I'm not going to tell you can eat off of the ground in Salt Lake City, but you might actually be able to lick the ground. It is that clean. Have you noticed this?
Well, that's what happens when it's under snow half the year, So it's just, you can't get to the ground about half the year. But, yes, it is a very clean city. And I haven't spent much time in the city. By the time I got to the airport Wednesday night, you just drove straight out. That's the thing about driving in Utah, and you know this. You want to drive during the daytime. Drive at night's a wasted night in Utah because all the beauty is looking out the window at the mountains, at the Red Rocks. If you go south, you don't want to spend any of your time, waste any time driving at night. That's part of the beauty of this state. But yes, it is, to your point, very, very clean. Yeah, most places you look.
Well, and Salt Lake is an interesting town too, and unique. The architecture is unique. I don't know if you've had a chance to see the Mormon Tabernacle, but I don't know another building in the United States that looks quite like that. So, I mean, there's all the things to take a look at around the state in rural areas and the national parks. But Salt Lake City, in of itself, is also a pretty interesting place to visit as well. Do you have the sense though, because they got two big college football games in the area this weekend? Utah hosts USC. BYU's got the Razorbacks. I mean, This is a major area. It's a pro sports area. They're heavy into the Jazz. But do you have a sense that it's a big college football weekend just being around?
I haven't yet, but I think you're starting to see it build. I saw some Southern Cal shirts yesterday. You feel it a little bit. I've seen a lot of Arkansas stuff. Maybe I'm just more aware and looking and more interaction with people that have, I had a Razorback shirt on and somebody'd walk by and, Woo Pig or Go Hogs, and hey, where are you from? I'm from Newport. Well, I'm from Fort Smith or Fayetteville or Little Rock, and there's some people out here. I think there's when you get a chance to come to a place like this, people come 2, 3, 4 days early to check out the sites to make it a vacation. They built it into their annual plan or whatever. So I think right now everybody's in vacation mode. I think today you switch to college football mode.
Yeah. You know, and I'd forgotten about this. You get to do all this over again in 4 years. Arkansas's got a home-and-home scheduled with Utah. 2026, they're at Utah, man. I mean, here it is. The school never played in Utah before, and now we got 2 games out there in 4 years. So make sure you plant the flag in all your favorite spots so you can go back again in 4 years.
I just wonder if that sticks, though. I mean,
really,
with conference realignment, 9 SEC games coming, some non-con games are going to get dumped, at least one a year to make room for that 9th SEC game. Do some of these Power 5 arrangements that are long-term, I don't know if they all survive, Phil. So I hope you're right. Maybe there is another trip out here. I kind of consider this the once-in-a-lifetime trip out here because I'm not so sure games like that survive when you're setting up a schedule knowing you're playing 9 SEC games.
I hadn't thought about in those terms because, I mean, you have this. The reason that Arkansas has BYU on the schedule is because they had to schedule a Power 5 opponent or a major independent. You know, and that's why you got Utah on the schedule too in 26, the same year that they're playing Memphis and Tulsa, which are, group of 5 programs. So, I mean, do you think, as I also believe that even though, Greg Sankey, I think a few weeks ago said there's no guarantee we're moving to 9 games. I think we're moving to 9 games because I don't know how you have a 16-team league with only 8 games. So do you think that they're going to remove that requirement for a Power 5 opponent out of the conference or a major independent?
And the other thing in this equation is BYU's joining the league. They'll no longer be independent. But I don't see many schools signing up, and some already do this. But then you'd be talking about 10 Power 5 games. I mean, for a program like Alabama or Georgia who has the depth, that's probably okay. But for a program like Arkansas right now is reeling with injuries, do you want 10 Power 5 games on your schedule? Now, Arkansas's pretty much got that this year, and look at the consequence. This is probably one of the worst years for injuries, and it's been the toughest non-conference schedule. So I think there's got to be a balance there, and we talk about the health and safety and the mission statement of college sports and college athletics. There's got to be a happy medium in there somewhere.
So just briefly talk about some key points for this game for tomorrow, and I think on the defensive side, they've got to get after Jaron Hall, and they've got to move him around. They've got to pressure him because I just right now I don't expect Arkansas to succeed at covering receivers on a game-by-game basis. I just think by now, defensively they might be what we've seen, a team that struggles to tackle, a team that struggles to cover in the secondary. But what they can do, I mean, I know we haven't seen it much the last 2 weeks, but they're healthy on the defensive line, healthy-ish, more than any other spot defensively, and at linebacker too. So you got to use those areas of what still are strengths and get after Jaron Hall and move him around and force him to throw the ball earlier than he wants to. And then that kind of, I'm not telling you coverage doesn't matter, but when you get to the quarterback, coverage matters a little less.
Yeah. You'd settle for tackle to catch after the way tackling has went the last few weeks, if you could get to that point. I'll be interested to see, what the matchup ultimately looks like when the game begins. Can you get pressure with 3? They haven't been able to, certainly last week. And does Barry Odom adjust and put that 4th one up front? There's no guarantee that Arkansas would have got pressure on Will Rogers with 4. What we do know is they weren't able to cover 4 or 5 receivers with 8. So 7 wasn't going to make it much better. So I just think they're at a tough spot with personnel. They need some guys to get healthy. They need Slusher and the Johnsons back to play. They just really need they need more men, and that's where they're at right now.
Well, we've got another man coming in the studio in about 30 minutes or so, Tommy. We announced the news yesterday. The press release was sent out as well. Matt Jones joining halftime for until the end of time. And, man, I mean, in the last couple of months, Tommy, we've brought on Chuck Barrett, brought on Matt Jones. I mean, you've had Clay Henry with us for, a couple years now. So the star power's kicked up a little bit. And I thank you for bringing Matt on the show because he and I have always gotten along. I think we're going to have a lot of fun doing this.
Well, I'm glad to have him on our team. And, I can't think of anyone that could help our listeners understand what's going on in a football field and a basketball court with one person better than him, because he gets it. He's done both. And if you need a little help with soccer too, Phil, I think he could probably help you out with that too. He seems to like his soccer. But no, it's great to have Matt on the team. We've been talking for a little while now, and I'm just glad that when he thought about getting back on the radio, he called us first. So I was glad to take that phone call a month or so ago, and glad it all worked out. And sometimes timing is everything. So
that's true. You know, he's not just going to be like a football expert for us in basketball too. I mean, you just mentioned this. I mean, Matt is a huge soccer fan. I'm talking he's got teams that he roots for out in Europe and in England and everything. I don't think he's just going to help me with soccer or anything. I mean, if soccer ever gets brought up on our station, like, he's the soccer guy now. He's the only one, I think.
He can have it too. he can have that. He can have that role. I don't think anyone. Him and Ty can leg wrestle over that. But yeah, these soccer guys are crazy. I've got a few friends that do. They get up in the middle of the night to watch. Dusseldorf play Bayern or who. I mean, they're nuts. They get up in the middle. I said that's why God gave us a DVR, so you don't have to do that. Oh no. Would you watch the Razorbacks in the middle of the night if they were playing? Well, yeah, that's different.
Absolutely. Of course you would. You know what that would feel like? It's like when you've got. Let's put it in these terms. I don't know if you'll set an alarm on Sunday morning. I got to get out. I got a flight out of Salt Lake at like 8:30, so I probably got to get up at 5:30 in the morning in order to get there on time to give the rental car back. If I set an alarm for 5:30, I'm up at 5. That's just a fact. So let's say if the Razorbacks were for some reason playing in Ireland at some point. Let's say they play in Ireland, and it's a game that starts at 6 in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody needs an alarm for that. You've got an inner alarm. You've got an inner Razorback clock that tells you when they're ready to go.
Well, we may be on the same flight. I fly out Sunday at 8:30 as well. By the way, get ready for a hike from your gate to the rental car counter when you get to the airport tonight. But when you're a fan, I guess that's what you do. But these guys are crazy. There's not a soccer game, even if the Razorbacks suck. All due respect, I'm not getting up in the middle of the night for a soccer game.
Well, I wouldn't either. Tommy, appreciate you, man. I look forward to seeing you out there at the stadium on Saturday, and enjoy your trek through Salt Lake City today.
All right. Safe travels tonight. Maybe I'll catch up with you.
All right. Tommy Kraft here on Halftime, joining us from lovely Salt Lake City in Utah. All right, we're going to step aside for a break on Halftime. It's interesting to hear him talk about the hike that you got to take to the rental car counter. There's so many hikers that all
said it was a full mile.
A full mile.
I think he said that's how many steps it was.
Well, that's good. I mean, I only have one carry-on and one personal item because that's all they allow you to take on the flight anyway, so I can do it. But it's, so many hiking enthusiasts show up in Utah thinking they're going to climb mountains and everything like that. No, you're going to end up walking a mile to get to your rental car anyway to get you ready for the rest of your trip. All right, phone lines will swing open here. It's 877-377-6963 for a call or a text on Halftime. Get in your Ask Phil questions, brought to you by the Stadium Shop, and we'll preview your Saturday college football television viewing experience next.
First, there was big tobacco. Now there's big marijuana. They've already ruined the quality of life in Colorado and California. Their next target? Arkansas, with Issue 4. They claim Issue 4 will benefit us, but in reality, it would only help a small group of corporate marijuana interests make millions and hurt us. By repealing limits on marijuana potency, Issue 4 puts profits over people, exposing our community to dangerous new higher potency marijuana products. By repealing advertising restrictions on marijuana, it puts our children at risk, exposing them to harmful marijuana products at a young age. Finally, as a constitutional amendment, any problems Issue 4 creates will be locked in and nearly impossible to undo. The truth is, Issue 4 would only line the pockets of big marijuana corporate interests and harm the quality of life for the rest of us. We can do better. Vote no on Issue 4. Paid for by Safe and Secure Communities.
Nobody has a better selection of 2022 and 23 Fords than Harry Robinson's Satisol Ford. More than 36 new Fords have arrived or are on the way. Ford F-150s, Expeditions, Escapes, Broncos, and Bronco Sports are all at Harry Robinson. And you will never pay more than MSRP. That's Harry Robinson's promise to you. The biggest and best selection of new Ford vehicles are at Harry Robinson's Satisol Ford. 1 mile south of exit 308 off of I-40 in Satisol and online at harryrobinson.com.
Unleash your inner detective at the 6 Foot Climb Murder Mystery Dinner. It's the ultimate murder mystery experience where you will enjoy a riveting night of conundrum and peril disguised as belly shaking, feet stomping, side-splitting laughter. Enjoy a scrumptious dinner coupled with some of the best entertainment in the Arkansas River Valley. The 6 Foot Climb is an experience you will never forget. Hosted at the Beard and Lady Inn in Chester, Arkansas. For tickets and more information, go to the6footclimb.com.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Needing your roof repaired? Ramos Roofing is a local company that has over 25 years of experience, specializing in your residential or commercial roofing needs in the Oklahoma area. Ramos Roofing, a company you can trust, offering discounts to senior citizens, law enforcement, or healthcare workers, and assists in your insurance claims. Ramos Roofing, standing behind their work so you can stand under it. Call 479-420-9903. That's 420-9903. Ramos Roofing, working with you to build a better home.
For over 30 years, Our Landry's New Orleans Cafe has been the River Valley's favorite seafood, Cajun, and steakhouse. Now serving the best game day trays to go, including crawfish etouffee, seafood pasta, bourbon street chicken, blackened catfish, and more. They also do catering, pickup, and delivery. Our Landry's New Orleans Cafe, 613 Garrison Street in downtown Fort Smith. Open Tuesday through Thursday from 5 to 8 and Friday and Saturday from 5 to 9. 783-2505.
Now booking Christmas parties.
Do you have concerns about the integrity of your roof? Liberty Roofing of Fort Smith and the surrounding area is here and ready to serve you. Liberty Roofing is here for all your roofing needs. Quality roofing services, licensed, insured, and certified. Give Liberty Roofing a call at 650-6231 to get started for a free roof inspection and estimate. Call 650-6231. Liberty Roofing is here to tend to all your roofing needs. Let Liberty Roofing cover you. Check us out on Facebook.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith in the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs in Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Now back to the host. Here's Phil Elson.
What do you think, Arkansas BYU? Who's going to win? You got a score, you can send it over to me. Not a blue book thing or anything like that. Just, what do you think about this ball game? We'll have more thoughts on Arkansas BYU as we go throughout the program. 877-377-6963 for a call and a text on halftime. And, boy, Maddie, what have you sent me here? You sent me, not the one of the dog, the photos of the food.
Man, that stuff, that's a little bit more appetizing than the other photo I sent.
Yeah, exactly. This is a lovely spread that Fish City Grill brought you.
They are so generous, and now I'll be honest, I have not eaten all of that I showed you.
Who could eat all of that?
Just because it's so much, but you see those shrimp tacos there? Yeah, well, I dove in head first into those.
Yeah, you got to wash yourself off after that, don't you?
Man, they're spicy.
That's delicious. Yeah, these shrimp tacos look absolutely spectacular. You got some cheese dip. It's more of a queso. That's not a cheese dip, really. And looks like some grilled fish at the same time. Lovely.
I think that's grilled chicken with on a bed of rice and beans.
A little difficult to tell.
I wonder how Matt Jones feels about Fish City Grill, because he's going to have an option to eat some of it every Friday. While you don't get the option. I'm sorry, Phil.
I mean, I love Fish City Grill, but Fridays suck because I get to hear you talk about it and I get to see the photos of the food.
I chew right
into
the
starving.
microphone, too, during the break so he hears it.
Right. You're so friendly. Thank you. And I can't... I mean, I'm starving over here, man. I'm starving over here. I never get to eat the Fish City Grill lunch bunch every week on halftime. Drew used to have the fun, but I guess he's starving on Fridays.
You know he's missing it right now.
In East West Memphis, too. So, yeah, Matt will have all the fun. And that's thanks to our friends at Fish City Grill. Check out their monthly chalkboard specials on Facebook and get in and see them in Rogers and Fort Smith. Cody has given us a call on halftime. Cody, you're up. How you doing, man? What you think of this game?
I'm doing all right. I'm in a current situation where when you're on like those old two-lane roads when you're driving, and then
yes, I've driven those.
There's a passing lane. Does it feel like they always speed up when you get to that point, or is it am I overthinking it out of frustration?
Probably a little bit of both. I think just about everybody, when they realize they're getting passed, speeds up too. It's just the same thing. Like, this has been studied. It's weird. Now, as far as I know, there's only one tunnel to drive through on a freeway in the entire state of Arkansas. Where I'm from, born and raised in Pittsburgh, it's a way of life, going over bridges, going through tunnels. And they studied this, that everybody slows down as they are approaching a tunnel. And I think everybody speeds up when they realize they're getting passed, and I guess that includes the people that you're driving near right now.
Yeah, I take advantage of cruise control, and I think that that's more efficient than just constantly putting on your gas pedal and then taking off. Anyway, I don't know. I'm just frustrated about that, and I speak what I feel in those moments. So, funny story. I'm so stoked to know Matt Jones is going to be on the show. Your guys' ratings are going to be out the roof. I hope Tommy gives y'all bonuses for that.
Yeah, me too.
The quarterback bonus. That's right.
Yeah. But it is cool because he will be able to speak to both sides, basketball and football. He was a good basketball player. You have to be. He played with Nolan, I think, for a year, and then it was Heath, I believe. And then another thing, there's a couple things I want to talk about. Phil, as I've gotten older, I never realized it, and I just took it for granted, or I didn't really think it through, I guess. Frank Broyles, what he did for the University of Arkansas is crazy. The coaches he was able to recruit just because of who he was, that played into it. That man really, really took Arkansas to the next level. And Yurichek's starting to do that. But, man, those were hard shoes to fill for Jeff Long, and eventually it kind of played out after about 5 years. It's kind of like how they say about a president. It's a lot different. President has a lot more stress. But Frank Broyles he was really good at what he did. He checked all the boxes. He brought people in. He was charismatic. He could hold them. He could get the right people. And then a funny story, and then I'll get to my prediction. Man, I remember playing church league basketball in Rogers, and I had just graduated high school or something. It was a couple years later, and Matt Jones was there. We saw him. We were like, oh, man. And I always thought, I was like, oh, I'm a good basketball player and all this. He swats my shot, gets it around like the three-point line, takes like 6 steps from like the other end of the court to his side, and just throws it down one-handed. And at that point, I was like, okay, that's why I didn't play college basketball. But my prediction for the BYU game, as long as Pittman and the coaching staff listen to all of us fans, I think we'll win big this weekend. If there's more of a passing game, we're good on the defensive side. I agree with the pressure, but if you're able to capitalize on those opportunities, like the 3 picks we had that we dropped, I think that's a 14-point difference minimum, and I think we win the game. And I honestly think we're going to win the game by 10 to 14 points, Phil. But thanks for letting me be long-winded. And I was joking about listening to the fans. But y'all have a good one. Happy Friday, brother.
I appreciate that, Cody. Thank you. Yeah, the reintroduction of the long passing game, I think we'll see that this weekend too. And I have a feeling that it might not be going to Matt Landers, that I think it will be going to Keytron Jackson and to Bryce Stevens. The same conversation about on the defensive side, that after 6 games, maybe you are what you are. I mean, how much can the team improve in tackling and in coverage when you're not practicing tackling at this time of the year moving forward, and you're beaten up at these positions? So you're down to second, third string in some cases. Maybe you are what you are defensively. And maybe that might be the same idea on the offensive side, where the starters have just had trouble getting open on the outside. And I think Hazelwood lining up on the slot has done very well. And I wouldn't change where he lines up. That was something we got into earlier this week. He's been successful there. He's a really good blocking wide receiver. Keep him there. But Warren Thompson, he's been surpassed by Keytron Jackson. I wonder about Matt Landers and whether or not Bryce Stevens could surpass him. Now, it might just be looking to the one play that Stevens made against Mississippi State last week, that incredible catch on the deep throw from Malik Hornsby. And he caught 2 balls on the game, and one of them was 54 yards. The other went for 5. So we might just be looking into one play specifically, but he's made 2 incredible plays, one of them on the punt return against Missouri State. And Sam Pittman said on the coaches show Wednesday that he's got the hands. He's got the hands, and he's improved catching the ball because he's been the punt returner. I think we'll see more run for Bryce Stevens coming up tomorrow against BYU, and that very well could come at the expense of some snaps for Matt Landers, who incredibly has not scored a touchdown yet for Arkansas and is not getting open on a routine basis. Other texts coming in. Curtis and Harrison, I think he agrees with Cody. He thinks Arkansas gets it together, contains the quarterback, and wins 38-13. If you got any more thoughts, texts and calls at 877-377-6963. I don't know where Calvert came from this. Either win by 3 or lose by 21. I mean, the line has been all over the place this week. Started with BYU favored by a point. Arkansas then ended up favored by 1.5. And the last time I looked, I want to open up my Bet Saracen app and see what they've got on this game, because the last time I checked on it, ESPN's betting line had it at an even, and right now Bet Saracen is BYU minus 1.5. So it's swung back to the home team, and the point total, the over-under, started at 63.5 this week. It's up to 66.5. So that's a tough one to look at here. That's, I guess, assuming both teams get into the 30s, which I think could happen. I'm not exactly sure which direction to go at that one just yet. Caller on hold. Let's take the phone call. Hello, caller. You're on. I don't know who this is just yet, so let's see who this is. Who are you, and what do you think?
Am I on?
Sorry,
You're on
Phil,
the
I
air.
was in the middle of asking him, and then I just threw him on when you said that.
all right.
So he was answering my question. Sorry, sir, I didn't hear you. Once again, what's your name and where are you calling from?
It's Brian in Hot Springs.
What's up, Ryan? How are you?
I feel like if the Hogs will kind of play, if they'll kind of have that chip on their shoulder, like they know they got their back against the wall, I like our chances this weekend. I'm one of those I'm a college football junkie, so I try to watch a little bit of everybody and with some of the common opponents that I've seen that Arkansas has played and who's the Cougars have played, they've had times where they've looked pretty good and other times where their opponents haven't looked very good as well. Like last night, they beat a Baylor team in overtime a couple of weeks ago, and then they go and they get beat last night in Morgantown by a West Virginia team that hasn't really defensively has not looked good at all. And then I watched here a few weeks ago whenever they played at Utah State that come in and just I think they pulled away late, but early in that game though Utah State was kind of having their way with them, and I think if Arkansas can come in and kind of set the tone with the running game, I legitimately like our chances, and I think you're going to see a motivated KJ after having to miss last week. So I look for that to be a factor as well. I could see us winning 35-21, something like that, or it could be closer than that. But I don't see us winning any bigger than that, though. I like both sides of the ball, or the line of scrimmage, just to say, with the offensive line, defensive line. I think will be the factor. That's my 2 cents. I hope y'all have a great day, and go Hogs.
Ryan, appreciate your phone call. Thank you. Here's a point coming in from Greg in Fort Smith. And this is another point. I mean, you kind of expect this when you're playing against BYU. They just have older players. Many of these players end up, well, most of them go on Mormon mission for 2 years. Many of them are married. And Greg's done the research. 33 football players are married for BYU. And the average player is 22 years old. I would imagine some of these guys have kids too, which might mean they're not sleeping quite as well if they're doing the dad duty, but maybe in football season they don't quite do it as much. So Greg thinks Arkansas is in trouble because BYU is older and therefore more mature, and the number of married players, he's pointed that out too. That would, I guess, go with the maturity. 877-377-6963 for thoughts on this. Both teams are looking for a fast start. Both teams have been starting extremely slowly of late, and that's exactly what Ryan was touching on. But for Arkansas, I mean, look at these last 2 games. 28-0, 21-0. I mean, all you really need to know is that. There's ways to get to 28 and 21-0, and we know those reasons. We know how it happened. But you just can't put yourself in that kind of a situation back-to-back weeks and then come out the next week flat. I'd be so shocked if Arkansas comes out flat. Now, I'm not going to tell you that they'll just march down the field on their first possession and get into the end zone, but how about a drive that includes a few first downs and then an ability to stop BYU on their first drive or two, because that just has not been happening these last couple of weeks. And I think if Arkansas could be the team with the better start, I mean, this has been a team that has played fairly well with the lead this year. They just haven't had the lead for the most part in the last 2 weeks. Had the lead against Texas A&M. We know what happened with that. But I could see the team that jumps out in this ball game, does the other team just deflate because they've been used to being from behind? You know, BYU fought pretty close to getting to Notre Dame, but wasn't quite close enough. And that's what happened with Arkansas against Alabama. It wasn't much of a comeback against Mississippi State. All right, quick break on halftime. We got more calls and texts and a second-hour reset next, so stay with us.
Fall archery season is here, and Jelko
Video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite. White perch, slab, sacalé, paper mouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. Bet online, where the game starts.
Ed Sheeran used to sing in the church choir, but now bad habits reveal his desire. The old saying goes, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. God knows you can't overcome. That's why the faith that saves is trusting what Jesus has already done. There's nothing else you can say or use or do. Bad habits lead to doom. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Sometimes wounds just don't heal, and when they don't, reach out to the Tulsa Wound Center. They provide chronic wound care using all the latest technologies such as hyperbaric oxygen therapy, shockwave therapy, skin substitutes, and more. When it comes to life and limb, experience matters. Make sure you are being seen and treated by an experienced and certified wound physician. Founder and medical director Dr. Lam Lee has been a prominent wound care and hyperbaric physician for over 15 years. 10,000 patients can't be wrong. Online at TulsaWoundCenter.com or call 918-561-6661.
Searching for the best UTV on the market but can't find it with any of the big name brands? That's where the Intimidator comes in. An American brand using American-made steel and built in Arkansas. Intimidator UTVs offer premium components as standard, unlike those other companies. Items such as doors, skid plates, heavy-duty frames, and comfortable seating, all at one comparable price. See why Intimidator UTVs are the best choice by visiting your local dealer, Horns Outdoor in Hot Springs, or visit hornsoutdoor.net.
Hi, I'm Mike Van Jr. with Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. You can count on my team to provide top quality pressure washing and exterior cleaning services for your property.
What all do you service?
Fence washing, gutter, or deep concrete cleaning for your home, commercial business, and more.
Do you have insurance?
Absolutely. We're covered with liability insurance, and we also use safe and effective wash methods, leaving your home or business looking brand new.
I guess I need to go to your website, mjmobilewash.com.
Or just give me a call at 479-763-5561.
Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash.
One call cleans it all.
No House Advantage is changing the game by offering the most dynamic.
I've been holding on for too long. Turned around and she was gone. 7 years to get me here. All that's left is my tears.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text into Halftime at 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson.
The golden hour fast approaches. Your game predictions are coming in at 877-377-6963. And we'll wrap up hour number 2 with a reset.
Freeze frame!
Reset and refresh.
Reset. The Great Reset.
It's time for the Halftime Reset, giving you all the info and facts you need to make it through the rest of your day in sports.
False start. Both teams back on the get back here.
Now, here's Phil Elson with your Halftime Reset.
Well, we had a baseball scrimmage yesterday at Baum-Walker Stadium, and Arkansas sent the Texas Rangers instructional team to another loss. I believe that's 5 games, 5 losses for the Rangers instructional league team, so they're learning how to lose. Tavian Josenberger and Reese Robinette both homered for the Razorbacks. Josenberger's a transfer out of Kansas. Robinette's a true freshman, and he is a tank. They outscored the Rangers 18-6 in the 2 games played. This one was a 7-inning game. And maybe a little bit of a weird exhibition. Well, let's not say a little bit. It was a weird exhibition because Arkansas made no outs in the 4th inning, and the inning ended after they'd scored a few runs, called rolling the inning over. And also Arkansas led 6-4 after the top of the 7th inning, which would have usually means the game is over and you don't bat, but they still batted in the bottom of the inning because they wanted their hitters to get some at-bats, and Texas wanted their pitchers to throw. So, you look at a final score, say 6-4, say 8-4, and you realize that Arkansas scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning in which they would not have been hitting. Hagen Smith allowed a run in 1 inning. Rangers scored 2 off Nick Griffin in the 2nd. Austin Ledbetter, Cody Frank, and Parker Coyle each retired 3 in a row. Will McIntyre gave up a run in 1 inning, and Dylan Carter pitched 1 shutout frame. You had a really exciting NFL matchup yesterday. Washington beats Chicago, and Washington safety Cam Curl, former Razorback, recorded 5 tackles, including his first sack of the year for the Commanders. And Armon Watts, former Razorback for the Chicago Bears, made 6 tackles, including 2 solos for the Chicago Bears. And that is your second hour reset. And so far, my guess on this playoff game with the Yankees and the Guardians is not going too well. Giancarlo Stanton, not like Stanton needs very much help with a short porch in right field at Yankee Stadium with his power, but he got some help. Hit a 352-foot home run to straightaway right field. There just aren't a lot of ballparks in America where 352 feet to straightaway right field is going to leave the ballpark, but that's what happened for Stanton. He took Shane Bieber over that fence in the first, and the Yankees currently leading it 2-0 in the third inning. Got a couple of other playoff games that will start later tonight. The Braves and the Phillies, 3:30 FS1. Spencer Strider pitching for Atlanta against Aaron Nola for the Phils. Strider hasn't pitched in a few weeks because of an injury. Bet Saracen right now has Atlanta favored 105 on the money line. Padres and the Dodgers, that series also tied 1 apiece. It's a 7:30 first pitch on FS1. The Catman, Tony Gonsolin against Ian Snell. Dodgers are favored -125. All right, we're getting into the second hour, the third hour of halftime. Gosh, it's been 2 months. We've been doing 3 hours. I should remember that by now. And Matt Jones will be in studio, our new co-host. Will have his first hour as a co-host on halftime, so get in your calls, 877-377-6963. We wrap up the show. We wrap up the week with a golden hour next. minute since we were able. I know you've been on the Morning Rush. I think you were on with Ty once or twice. So I mean, you radio is a thing that I think you took to, in a previous station in Little Rock. So it's good to have you on radio, man. Yeah. What is it about radio that that you like that first brought you to radio and then brings you back?
Well, the funny thing is kind of public speaking and being in a room with 500 or 1,000 eyes on you. I've always kind of made me anxious and nervous and a little just uneasy. I guess nervous, but just more anxious. But the radio, I know you get to talk to a lot of people, but you don't have those eyes on you. There's just a calmness about it, just a ease about it. But I enjoy it. I love watching ball. I love talking ball just as much as anybody. And hopefully the Hogs go up there against these BYU Cougars and do the thing.
It's funny, the eyes never seem to affect you in a stadium that was totally full, though. That's a different thing.
You know how a pitcher can't throw it back to to pick off or what? Like, is there something about it that I just and usually like when I'd go down there at the David Basil's Touchdown Club and have to talk and a lot of times it would be a Q&A or he'd make it easy on me so you get up there and sometimes it's like you got to get up there for 30 minutes and talk. It's like I don't know what people want me to say. It's just kind of it's just easier that way, it seems like.
He wants you to tell your story or something like that. I always, we all know the advice that we're being given when it comes to public speaking is to picture everybody naked. I never wanted to do that before, man. I mean, that doesn't make me comfortable thinking that I can speak to all these naked people.
I try to look, right at the top of their heads, so you just you don't have to make too much eye contact. That's right.
A lot of conversations. You want to keep the eyes up, always up, no matter what. All right, so let me get your thoughts on Arkansas for these last three games. I mean, it really feels like the A&M game felt fluky because of a play at the goal line and because of allowing them to convert on 3rd and 27 or whatever it was. There was nothing fluky about Alabama and about Mississippi State. Maybe you can chalk up the state loss to being banged up at some really important positions. But what have you seen in these last 3 weeks that you think Arkansas might be able to turn around this weekend?
Yeah, there's some talent there. There's so much parity in college football right now. And even you go back to that first game of the year against Cincinnati, they had some guys running open, and their quarterback overthrew them. South Carolina didn't look like they had even had camp yet this year. They just, I don't know what they were doing this game. Missouri State, Bobby Petrino and what they were doing running that out. I mean, he has like 3 plays. Bobby Petrino can still coach, and we just had better talent against Missouri State. Then you got A&M. That I don't know if the OC tries to outthink the room sometimes, or because you had the ball at the end of the first half. What was there, like 3 minutes and 31 seconds left to go in the game? I mean, left to go in half. You're up by a score, and you have the ball 1st and goal on the 6. It's like, why are we in such a hurry to score to give them back the ball again? To have some analytics that way and think, let's run the ball. If we want to score, obviously, but let's don't be in such a hurry all the time and slow the game. A&M had the best player on the field, number 6, best player I've seen so far this year in college football, and I just don't understand. And then we fumble and it's bad deal. The quarterback never wants to fumble. Nobody wants to mess up, and then Bama's just they're the clear class of the SEC, and I think Mississippi State might be the second best team in the West this year.
They look like it now. They really do. I think they're dangerous. I think they take down Kentucky tomorrow, and that's whether or not Kentucky's got Levis. I mean, you know what it's like to be a quarterback who might be a little bit banged up. I mean, he's got a foot. That's what kept him out last week. And I mean, part of his game is getting out and running and using his speed and using his size. And I just don't know if as a pocket passer that's necessarily going to lead to success for Kentucky against that Mississippi State. I was impressed by State's defense last weekend.
Their linebacking crew, they flew around to the ball. Yes, they did, and man, and I know they had to see some different plays. We had 2 quarterbacks working, and they're both different types of quarterback. But yes, Leach, it seems like he has some talent there, and they're more complete. The thing about a Mike Leach team, it seemed like in the past that he would. They weren't running the ball enough. They weren't as strong or as physical, and they look like they've kind of got over that hump where he's not scared to run the ball 30 times in a game. Not that he ever was, but that's just kind of his philosophy, was to throw the ball around the park.
What do you think getting KJ back this weekend does for Arkansas? Just simple.
I think it settles everybody down. I think everybody settles back down a little bit. I think they go out there and play probably their best game of the year. I think this is a must-win game. I think the BYU, those kids are a little bit older, and we forget that. They go on their missions for 2, 3, 4 years, so they're not 17, 18-year-old kids. They're 21, 22, 23, so you're just a better athlete when you're 23 than when you are 18. So, but that being said, I think we have the better athletes. I think we have the speed. BYU is going to be a tough physical team, and they're going to hit you in the mouth. But I think we'll definitely be the more athletic team, and I really think we could win this game by double digits if we'll go out there and play.
Is it a matter of getting out to a quick start? They've been such a slow starting team these past 2 weeks, and really, I mean, you can look at 3 out of the last 4 games. Started really slowly against Missouri State, allowed them to score, what was it, the first 17 points of the game. And Sam Pittman said he's trying to change things up at practice to lead to that. But, you know, I'm not sure if there's anything you can do until the game actually starts and the team plays well.
That's Phil, you're exactly right. I don't know that they put – it's like my golf game. I can't put 2 good shots together. You know, I don't know if they put 2 or 3 good quarters together. We got to play all 4 quarters, especially when you're in the SEC. A&M, Bama, Mississippi State, you got to show up, and that's what I think they're going to do against BYU. I mean, you got a bye week coming up, and this is it. You know, this is a must-win game, so I think they'll be focused up. BYU had a tough one last week against Notre Dame. They might be a little banged up, so I look for Arkansas to play well this week.
We hear the term must-win thrown around a lot, and I've heard that a lot about last week, Mississippi State, and this week against BYU. But to get into the player's mindset, I mean, isn't that the way you look at every game?
The players don't look at it the same way that us fans look at it, and from the outside, they don't. Whenever I played, you don't pay attention to the outside noise as much. You kind of try to have a closed locker room, and I know there's more social media now, but you just try to stay together. And I mean, we're trying to get to a bowl game. You need those extra practices to develop these players. It is. I mean, as far as what game this year, so for this is definitely. I mean, this is kind of make or break our season this year.
I mean, it's not the kind of thing you necessarily need like some fiery speech before the game. These guys know what's at stake here.
100%. If you can't get up for this game, I mean, you played A&M, you played Banks, could have beat A&M. You got to forget about it. Bama's tough. Mississippi State, you didn't have all your weapons. Let's get it and go and try to stay healthy. Try not to have the mental mistakes, not turn the ball over. And I think you're right. If we can get on them early, get up 10-0, 14-3, and just try to hit them in the face.
What's your sense of the Arkansas wide receivers? We all went into the season. I remember we've had like our opinions have changed so much. Even since last year ended. You know, we didn't have Traylon Burks any longer. Everybody was really nervous. How do you replace that production or at least a lot of the chemistry with him and with KJ? And then you bring in a Matt Landers, a Jaden Hazelwood, and you're thinking, all right, well, these guys have been productive somewhere else. They're going to be productive here. And the room has, I mean, it has been a position that has lacked for the most part right now. What are you seeing?
Well, the biggest thing is Traylon Burks he's a stud. He's an OG. He was really he was the guy because you'd get man coverage, and this is the thing that he was so good at last year. And you get man coverage, and you throw that back shoulder fade. You show it like you throw it on a level 2. The D-back doesn't get a chance to react, and you got a big guy like Traylon that was so athletic. That got us out of a lot of bad situations. I mean, it'd be 3rd and 11, and he'd get that man coverage, or we'd be our second series in a row not really moving the ball, and he'd see it out there. And that was when the offense was really rolling last year, I thought. And so number 9, I mean, I think he's been a good pickup for us this year, but I think he really misses that outlet of having that man coverage. I don't think anybody scares. I don't think we have any receivers like that that scare them on the other side where they do double team them. And then when you see that man, that's all a quarterback wants. I mean, really, if you can run the ball and get man coverage, I mean, that's as easy as the game can get for you.
We'll talk about like chemistry between a quarterback and a wide receiver, and I think some of it also just goes to the quarterback's knowledge of how good that receiver is. I'm thinking of a couple of the plays that I think describe what you're getting at here. And they were the back-to-back plays at Ole Miss last year.
Yes, sir.
Where KJ just kind of threw it up. It was one-on-one coverage. Traylon beat him twice. And I think you're right now. I mean, there isn't anybody right now that on a play like that you're thinking, my guy's going to go get the ball.
Yeah, and I mean that gets you out of a lot of trouble when you were able. And I think that's the thing missing right now so far this year in the passing game.
So is it? I mean, is there more pressure then on KJ to try to make something out of nothing when it's not there? We talked so much about his accuracy last year in certain situations. The accuracy is down this season. That has as much to do with wide receivers getting open or not getting open, doesn't it?
That's exactly correct. And Traylon was the guy that was like a George Wilson or a Marcus Monk, and it was just to name some guys that when I was there, that if he's covered by one D-back and the D-back's not looking at you, that means he's open. And you're going to let your receiver be an athlete and make a play, and that's what he was so good at. And now that's the defenses had to play man because they had to stop our run, and it doesn't seem as much this way where he has to maybe has a couple more zone reads in the passing game. It's not as clear to him. It's not as clear as it was last year.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see if it's going to be clear tomorrow against BYU. And we've got Matt Jones with us for the entire hour, and then for all 3 hours on Monday next week. And it's an exciting thing to know that we got here. And apparently I've got to change my name to Matt because we had there's a Matt in studio. There's two of you in studio now. Matt Jenkins was two co-hosts before you. He's the only person, by the way, Matt, that would be close to your size in terms of height. Maddie, how tall was Jenkins? SmackDown, was he 6'6"?
He's got to be a foot taller than me, and I'm 5'8".
Yeah. So well, I guess there's two things you got to do. You either got to be really tall, or you got to be named Matt to be on this radio show. You got both of those things down.
Come on, Phil. This is your show. I'm excited to be here, man. I'm excited. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah, we will. Well, my name's Phil, and I'm 5'9", so we'll see how long that can last. 877-377-6963. Stay with us. We'll come right back on halftime.
I'm running with it now. They don't want to give it up. We gon' make it out. Get it while I'm living.
ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Wheels RV wants you to seek out all the natural state has to offer this year. Explore Arkansas in a new RV from Grand Design, Forest River, KZ, Heartland, Keystone, or Alliance. All the best brands at the best prices. Enjoy peace of mind with our lifetime warranty on every new RV and a mobile service shuttle to keep you camping. So come on in and discover why Wheels was voted the best RV dealership in Northwest Arkansas. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
WT Equipment is your home for New Holland ag and construction equipment, sales, parts, and service. For high horsepower row crop tractors and combines, utility tractors and hay equipment, compact track loaders, and mini excavators. WT Equipment has it all. Stop by one of their 8 locations to explore the value of New Holland tractors and see why New Holland hay equipment and twin rotor combines are second to none in harvesting ability. Need to upgrade your construction equipment fleet? Give WT Equipment a call. Come by a store or check out their website, WTEquip.com.
Why do people love Shamrock Liquor Warehouse? Simple. They've got it all. 70 years in business, 15,000 square feet of choices. They buy in volume so you can save. What else? How about the largest selection of everything? Shamrock's got it. Special orders? Shamrock's got it. Convenient drive-through, open 6 days a week? Shamrock's got it. Need a keg for your party? Shamrock's got it. Load up at Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
No one has a bigger or better selection of brand new 2022 Fords than Harry Robinson Salasol Ford.
Yes, we definitely do. The selection right now is nice. We've got a ton of vehicles out there, and we've got a lot that are still coming in. If you're looking for an F-150 work truck, we've got one. If you're looking for a Lariat, you want to go up in trim level a little bit, we've got one. If you're looking for that third row SUV, Expedition, we've got them in inventory, and we've got a couple that are on the way. We've got a Mustang that's going to be here fairly soon. We've got some Escapes out there, Edges, Explorers. It doesn't matter what you're looking for. Give us a shout. Let's take a look at our through our inventory and see if we've got what you're looking for.
And never $1, not one dime over the sticker price.
No, through this whole pandemic, a lot of people were gouging the public and gouging the customers and charging over MSRP. We want you to remember us as the dealer that did not ever charge over MSRP on any of our new vehicles. So this is where you want to buy your vehicle, get your rebates, get your discounts. Don't pay over MSRP.
Harry Robinson Salasol Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off of I-40 in Salasol.
Hi, this is Melissa, owner of True Grit Running Company. There's nothing scarier than foot pain. Whether you're suffering from plantar fasciitis, bunions, or general soreness from being on your feet all day, we can help. With our foot scanning and gait analysis system, our experienced staff can guide you to finding the relief you need. Don't let hurting feet spook you. You can contact us on social media or call us at 479-434-3571. That's 479-434-3571.
Are you a qualified CDL driver with local or over-the-road experience? Tired of driving older equipment, not having enough home time, feel like a number? You need Patriot Transport. Patriot Transport, based in Centerville, with locations in Russellville and Van Buren, provides you with late model equipment, has a family atmosphere, and provides you the opportunity to make $95,000 per year. Patriot Transport works with you to get the miles you want and the family time you need. Change your life today. Visit patriottransport.com to apply. That's patriottransport.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
Find halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
There you go. There you go. It's official. Now that your name's on the show, Matt, you're officially
nice. That's fast.
You got a little ownership in it. That's right. So check out this situation that could happen in Seattle on Sunday. It would take the Mariners staying alive and beating Houston tomorrow. And then, keep in mind here, the home of the Mariners and the home of the Seahawks, T-Mobile Park where the Mariners play, Lumen Field where the Seahawks play, they are right across the street from each other, downtown Seattle. You could have, and again, it takes the Mariners winning tomorrow, a 2:05 Central Time first pitch for Seattle-Houston, and then an hour later, the Seahawks host the Cardinals. And I just imagine the amount of people just around this area right at the very same time. I don't remember if Kansas City had a playoff game or a World Series game the same time or same day that they would have had a Kansas City Chiefs game. But with those two stadiums in the same parking lot, it would have had the same deal. But that's not like a city area. It's like this is downtown. City blocks all around the stadiums. That would be quite a day to experience. I know where you'd go. You'd be at the football game. I'd probably be at the baseball game.
We'd have them both covered then. We'd be all right. I haven't
really
been to Seattle. Have you been up to Seattle? I've heard nothing but good things. They say it's it's like the New York or the West Coast as far as very diverse, with a lot of good food. But I've heard good things about it.
I went up there for a Thanksgiving basketball trip with UALR Women's Hoops. This would have been like 2007. 2008. It was played at Seattle University, so not at one of the big arenas or anything. And it was really cool.
Yeah,
I thought it was fun. I walked, and that's where I get you folks on our YouTube notice. I wear these baseball T-shirts all the time from Ebbets Field Flannels. Their only standalone shop is downtown Seattle, right by the baseball park. So I visited there, and it was like visiting Mecca. Because that's basically all my shirts come from that one place.
That's awesome. I like those RBCA shirts. You ever get those? I like those. They seem to fit good. You find a shirt, like you say, you find a place where you get your T-shirts and you just go back.
Well, it's really just because I'm a baseball geek, and this is the baseball geekiest of T-shirt companies. What am I wearing here? You don't see this one. This is a Pawtucket Clam Eaters T-shirt.
Some of these team names I feel like could be double entendre.
This one might very well be. I think we'd all like to be a clam eater sometimes. I love clams.
It
in
is
Seattle. They'd be delicious too.
That's pretty neat. I always think the banana slugs from the Pulp Fiction. Like, these are your clothes, man.
That's right.
You look like
Santa Cruz. That's right. 877-377-6963 if you want to talk to Matt. I'm being honest here. I know you want to talk to Matt, not me. Don in Fayetteville's up first. Hey, Don, you're on halftime. What's up?
Hey, not much. First thing I'd like to do is compliment Matt Jones. I always like to watch him run when he played, because it looked like he was barely moving, but he could cover 10 yards in 2 or 3 steps. So that was fantastic. My question is to him, Matt, is the RPO they run nowadays more complicated with more reads than what was done at your time at quarterback? I'll hang up and listen to you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, that's a good question. When I ran it, we had a lot. So it's a read pass option is what that is, and a lot of times you'll have where you'll read the DN for the running back, and a lot of times they call it. Now it looks like a read an RPO, but it's not. It's actually called, but it looks so you're not actually reading the DN. You're just either giving it or taking it predetermined. But we always read the DN right there, so it gives you a better chance. So whatever the DN does is wrong. And then we were able to put in a little bit of things where when that D-back, if that D-back would come back, and you saw Auburn do this a lot, they would just toss it over the head of that D-back when he come in, as long as your lineman don't go very far downfield. But it's still a good play, and there's a lot of check runs to check passes that get called in, especially when your quarterback gets a little older and he's able to pick up the offense. Yes, sir.
That seems to be a very big aspect of getting KJ back. The ability to run this offense and make decisions, because we know his decision-making is good. The RPO and where the ball is going, and if you're keeping it yourself, that's part of this. And like you're saying, I mean, you want to be steeped in running it, not just in practice but in games. Getting KJ back has just got to be one of the major aspects of getting him back, isn't it?
That's 100%. And KJ, you'd like to tell him now that he did have a little slight concussion is whenever you do run the ball, man, get the first down, get out of bounds, get down, don't take any more unnecessary hits. You know, if it's not fourth down, if it's not third, you know, if you're not trying and you get the first down, because we need you to win the game. You know, if your starting quarterback gets hurt, it's hard to keep winning, but. The other thing is he knows all the offense. When Hornsby comes in, he's limited in what he's done because he hasn't been able to practice everything.
Mm-hmm.
But he's talented. I'm excited about him, and hopefully he'll get 7, 8, 9 carries or plays this week.
You think they'll still – because he's not a wide receiver any longer. Do you expect to see him some plays at quarterback?
Yeah, I would like to think so, that they have a package, if it's that Wildcat package, if it's just RPOs, if it's just quarterback power, a quarterback draw, and then you're able to have those in with some type of check, and then you got to have some type of play action bootleg. He throws the ball right now the best on the run. So if you can get the pocket moving, and that gives you another run pass option based off that, where if nobody's open, I like his chances to get 3 yards, 4 yards, then it's 2nd and 6, and it's a positive play.
Rod's on hold. Let's go to the phone. Rod's driving on Interstate 40. Hey, Rod, you're on halftime. What's up?
Just wanted to say howdy to Matthew there, Mr. Jones.
Hey.
I sure miss him behind center because always calm and never panicked, and that will cost you a game in a heartbeat. Our secondary is, we'll just say thin. Well, how do you feel about using wideouts for safeties and tight ends for maybe corners? Because who knows how to catch a ball better than a wideout or a safety?
Well, they need to be able to tackle. I like was it Henry? Is 17 last week that came in. That he's kind of a corner. He plays all over the place, and he's a little light, but he's
Hudson.
Hudson, yeah,
Hudson Clark.
Hudson Clark. So, man, he seems to have really good ball skills, really good awareness. Seems to be a really good football player. Just very cerebral. He's just a little undersized. You know, but man, it's tough when you lose a lot of players like that. But my main thing with our D-backs would be tackle. You want to get some interceptions, and we didn't talk about that, Phil. I'm sure y'all talked about it this week, but. The defensive plan, if you get some of those interceptions, it could have been I mean, you had a chance, a legitimate chance to get 2 or 3 interceptions. My D-backs, we need to tackle and not give up those big plays and keep everything in front of you and get the ball back for our offense. Yes, sir.
Rod, appreciate the phone call, man. You got anything else?
No, it's just nice to hear from Matthew again. After all, he was clutch, and that's really a great quarterback that's clutch.
Well, man, I appreciate the kind words.
Thanks for the call, Rod. Is it all right if I call you Matthew a few times every show?
Anytime. That is my name, Matthew.
Is that what Mom calls you when she's angry?
Oh, man, yeah.
I get the same with my parents.
Yeah.
It's Philip. If I hear Philip, I know. Even at age 45, I'm like, what did I do? Goodness gracious. You know, and you talk about Hudson and moving to safety. And I asked him at the coaches show on Wednesday about the difference between those two positions, knowing the answer is, well, you're tackling a lot more and you're facing the line of scrimmage a lot more after the ball is snapped. And that's an area I think of concern for him. But I wonder about, I know Mbake and McAdoo, two freshman wide receivers who have now moved to cornerback for the time being. Like, they played that position in high school, but tackling in high school and tackling here are different things. And I do wonder, I know you want them to cover, first and foremost, their speed and their hands. Sooner or later, those guys are going to have to make a tackle if they get on the field.
That's right. Your strong safety is almost like an extra linebacker, especially when they're running the ball. And you gotta. That was the thing about that Bama game. When you give up the 70-yard touchdown runs, and Bama kind of wears you down, but got to tackle. And it's just hard when you're thin back there. But the kids, most of the athletes, most of those skill position players, if you're a receiver, a running back, and in my case a quarterback, you played both positions or you played offense and defense in high school, and probably they could have been recruited at some of that. So hopefully they'll get there and we'll get it going.
All right, we're going to step aside for a break. 877-377-6963 for calls and for texts. Want to remind you about No House Advantage. They've got the most dynamic fantasy sports platform that you can find anywhere right now. Pick'em contest versus other people. You can win up to $150,000 plus. You download the app, you choose your contest, select your player props, and you can earn points for correct picks and climb that leaderboard for a chance to win big money. Or test your skills against the house, and if you hit all your picks, you can multiply your entry up to 20 times. That's 5-player prop over-unders, individual player matchups on every major league sport, NFL, pro basketball, baseball playoffs, pro golf, MMA, NASCAR, and a lot more. Sign up with the promo code HTL at nohouseadvantage.com. You can download the app on the app stores, and they'll match your first deposit up to $25. Promo code HTL, nohouseadvantage.com, and halftime's back after a quick break.
Down on Main Street.
First, there was big tobacco. Now there's big marijuana. They've already ruined the quality of life in Colorado and California. Their next target, Arkansas, with Issue 4. They claim Issue 4 will benefit us, but in reality, it would only help a small group of corporate marijuana interests make millions and hurt us. By repealing limits on marijuana potency, Issue 4 puts profits over people, exposing our community to dangerous new higher potency marijuana products. By repealing advertising restrictions on marijuana, it puts our children at risk, exposing them to harmful marijuana products at a young age. Finally, as a constitutional amendment, any problems Issue 4 creates will be locked in and nearly impossible to undo. The truth is, Issue 4 would only line the pockets of big marijuana corporate interests and harm the quality of life for the rest of us. We can do better. Vote no on Issue 4. Paid for by Safe and Secure Communities.
When you need a good pre-owned vehicle at the best price, you go to Crane Used Car Supercenter because...
Don't be frightened this October. It's just the scary good deals from the Crane Used Car Supercenter taking over your radio. Fear not. Come see for yourself and let Joe treat you to 0 down and no payments till next year. That's right, 0 down and no payments till 2023. The frighteningly good deals are at Crane Used Car Supercenter, US Highway 71 in Fort Smith.
With over 40 years combined experience, the team at the law offices of Craig L. Cook understand the definition of work, real work, working for you. Whether you've been injured in an auto accident, on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help navigating bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook, with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
Hey, crappie fans, if you love crappie fishing, Crappie Expo, Branson, Missouri, October the 20th through the 22nd. More than 100 exhibitors. It's all crappie. Get the latest and greatest. Also, the world's largest crappie fry, hush puppies, and taters. Pro crappie teams fishing for over $300,000. Meet the pros, seminars, and concerts daily. Giving away $10,000 on Friday and again on Saturday. Cash is king.
That man's crazy.
CrappieExpo.com. CrappieExpo.com.
With over 8,000 square feet of all the latest trends in lighting and plumbing fixtures, Great House Fixtures has all the brands you know and love, such as Visual Comfort Lighting and Delta Faucets. Their experienced staff can help you design and select the perfect fixtures for your uniquely you home, including sinks, tubs, faucets, custom showers, indoor and outdoor lighting, chandeliers, mirrors, hardware, and more. Make your house a great house. Learn more at greathousefixtures.com, located on 0th Street in Fort Smith. Great House Fixtures by J&B Supply.
When you need to customize your ride, whether for work or play, check out River Valley Truck Outfitters. Full line of LED lights for your headlights to work lights, B&W hitches, toolboxes, ladder racks for all your work needs or play, grill guards to full front bumper replacements, full line of WeatherTech and Husky floor mats. Let River Valley Truck Outfitters get your window tinting on. Best prices and quality in the Fort Smith area. River Valley Truck Outfitters can get your ride ready on Highway South 71 on top of Rye Hill. 648-8855. That's 648-8855.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging. You may know us as the Xerox authorized dealer in the River Valley, but Dixie Digital is also now an Epson Platinum partner. We have multifunction models up to 100 pages per minute, desktop multifunctions, and wide format models that are surprisingly affordable, even desktop scanners that can make your documents completely searchable. For more information, give us a call at 479-783-6600 or visit dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing document innovations to the River Valley.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Give them a call or send them a text at 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
Hey, we are 25 minutes away from the official start of our weekend. I still got to get out to Salt Lake. I feel like I'm going to be the last member of the media that covers this game that's going to make it out there, and hopefully I do make it out there. You know what it's like to travel these days. Matt, you did some traveling over the last few days, but more of a drive, I guess. Spent some time with Coach Nutt.
Yes, sir, man. Yeah, that'd be it. So you're flying? You'll be flying to Salt Lake City?
Yeah, I got to go through Denver later today, and then to Salt Lake, and then make the drive to Orem. I don't see getting into the bed until about 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that'll be a trip for you. Yeah, man, it's Coach Nutt's birthday today. I guess everybody knows when everybody's birthday is nowadays. But I didn't know that. Me and one of my buddies, Colby, that played up there at Arkansas as well. He lives in Fayetteville. He came and picked me up, and we drove down there and hung out with Coach Nutt for a couple of days and played Heritage Ranch down there, played Stonebriar. I mean, just some awesome golf courses, and just got to catch up. It was just good to ride around the course with Coach and just see how he's living and see how he's doing and just tell stories. And man, it was fun. He had his buddy with him, and we had a battle on our hands too. It was cool, and he's still doing the CBS Sports thing. I get Thursday through Sunday. Yeah, it was cool. It was a good time.
How's your relationship with Coach? Not every player stays in contact with their coach. What is it about your relationship with Houston Nutt that makes it stick around? I mean, here 20 years later.
Man, it was years ago. He came down to Fort Smith Northside, and I remember him coming to practice, and he understands athletes. I mean, he's really a good leader of young men. And that's I think one of the things that really connected us is just Coach was an amazing athlete. I mean, can play basketball. You put a ball in his hand when he was younger, he could do whatever. And that was one thing going there was I wanted to play both sports. Coach had played both sports and at Arkansas and then at Oklahoma State, and so he gave me that opportunity. And I'm very blessed. You don't have that relationship with all your coaches. There's a lot of people that help these players get to where they want to go, and Coach Nutt was definitely one of those guys. And I'm very blessed to still have a relationship with him.
Calvert asked how old he is. I think he's 65 years
Yes,
old now today. Today's the 65th birthday for Houston Nutt. You guys had to have been able to connect and on what it's like to be under the spotlight as a high school athlete in the state of Arkansas, playing that position specifically. I mean, none of us that have not done that know what it's like. That had to be somewhere where you connected while he was recruiting.
100%. I was a 3-star coming out. We had Sean Andrews, Jeb Huckabee. You had some five stars in that group. So I had scholarships from Duke. They wanted me to play free safety. I want to say Oklahoma, they wanted me to play D end. Miami, Leonard Hamilton was there, so I was able to play both. I was going to be able to play both sports there, but they had the tight ends were all going to Miami there, and so they saw me as a tight end. And I just wanted the opportunity to play quarterback and to play basketball, and I wanted to stay at home. And man, it just worked out. It just worked out, and I'm glad I did it. Glad Arkansas. It was a good fit.
Imagine for me what it would have been like to play safety. I mean, you got the size, man. But I mean, what would that have been like?
I'm not going to hit anybody. That's the thing. When you talk about cover, I could cover somebody, but you have Jerome Bettis or Marshawn Lynch break through the line. I'm not tackling that dude, man. That's a business. We had some goods. Ken Hamlin was there and Tony Bua was saying Bumper Pool just broke his record, and Tony Bua had the tackling record, but Ken Hamlin, you want to talk about a guy that he could go. He was the real deal.
Think of some of the Steve Atwater,
Kanoy Kennedy.
It's a position of strength for Arkansas, but this year it's not that it's not a position of strength; it's a position of injury.
Yeah, the guy got hurt. He's an All-American quality safety that we had back there. He was our leader back there, and that hurt. Yes, sir, that definitely hurts.
Well, I mean, it felt like you lost K.J. Jefferson for a game. He's the quarterback offensively, and it felt like you losing Catalon, you lost your quarterback for the defense too,
especially the secondary, because our linebackers they're so tough. But yes, you're exactly right. He gets this. He's been there. He knows it. He knows what the corner's supposed to do. He sees it. He's able to talk to him, and the communication. Hey, watch the screen. Hey, your guy just caught it. Watch the double move. He's that guy out there that's able to help her. And then he solved a lot of problems. He wouldn't get beat deep, and then when they would break the line, now that dude would come up and hit you. So that's really a big miss for us.
What's the toughest atmosphere that you remember playing in?
Oh man, playing in LSU was tough. We played at Tennessee my sophomore year with a 6 overtime game.
Yeah,
that was a tough atmosphere. Playing down in the swamp. We're talking about the elements with them going to BYU and the altitude but playing down in the swamp in Florida. As soon as the game was over, it's like you had to get an IV and you're cramping up. I mean, it really takes it out of you. But that's the humidity. It's kind of a different feel. But when you go up into the altitude, it really will jump on you. So we got to stay fresh. You got to drink extra water, get extra rest, because they'll already be adjusted to it.
And they're going to have a crazy – I mean, it's been sold out for most of the week. I think the whiteout aspect has more to do with the idea that they want to I think they want to change a little bit of the mindset for Arkansas. So, I mean, you're wearing your home uniform on the road, right? That's why they're going to be wearing white. They got nothing but white and everything. It feels to me like this is a huge game for Arkansas, but I think for BYU, like they're breaking out all the stops for this game because it's an SEC team. It's really their last chance for a marquee win. Hogs still have opportunities. I mean, looking ahead, as you played your best, your hardest opponent so far, but I'm looking ahead at Ole Miss. Still beating LSU, that any win in the SEC is going to mean something. But I think BYU, they're breaking out all the stops for this one.
Yeah, it's a big game. It's a home game for them, and when you look at the schedule, it doesn't matter who it is when the schedule comes out. But and Under Armour used to have that old commercial, "Protect This House," if we all remember that. But it's the truth. You got to win your home games. You got to be above 500, and it's. Yeah, and speaking of Coach Nutt, you look at his home win record in Little Rock. I think he only lost like 2 games ever when he was here at Little Rock. So, but that's being said at camp and before the season even starts. Your home games, you got to show up, you got to win those, and they'll have the atmosphere going for them. It's nothing that Arkansas hasn't seen, but I'm with you. I think BYU will be ready, but I think Arkansas knows. I mean, this is it. They have to. This is a big game for them.
Well, you don't want to go in. I mean, you want to win every game. I mean, you got to throw that idea to the side. Yeah. But you got a bye week coming up. I could just imagine. I mean, like a full month of losing going into a week where you're not practicing. Where
just change the momentum, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty huge, at least for the mindset of the team moving forward, to like have a week that you can look back on what just happened and say, that was great. Because I believe the idea that you can move past a loss as long as you got something to prepare for. But if there's nothing to prepare for, you're just stuck on what just happened.
Yeah, you're not lying. It could be weird to be 3-4 after this game, and you get a whole week off. Man, it won't sit well. It won't taste well. The food won't be good all week. It's just to be a better week for us if we'll just go up there and get this W, get to 4-3, and you talk about the rest of the schedule. 4-3. I really think Liberty. There's 5, but we're going to win one more of those games. So but if we're 3-4, then we're really talking about, are we going to make a bowl game this year?
I mean, really, like we went into this season looking at the schedule and be like, you know what? It feels like they've got a chance to win all of them. Even Alabama, come into the year, all the hype, and it felt like, look, you're not going to go 12-0, but there's no game on this schedule that feels like you don't belong with that opponent. Things are a little different now, and I'm not saying they don't belong with any of the opponents moving forward, but I did not expect at the end of 6 weeks to be wondering whether or not there'd be a bowl game in December.
We had a lot of hope going into this season, and we were excited about this team, and I'm still excited. This team can still win some games and get to a bowl game, and we got a lot of people coming back next year.
Yeah, well, let's look at some of the other games we got here this weekend. 11 o'clock, Penn State and Michigan.
Oh,
it's a big one there.
Penn State at Michigan. Jim Harbaugh, what he's got going on, man. Michigan's they're that Big Ten football, they're due, aren't they? I mean, he's been there for a while. He's had some tough losses and kind of a 1-loss, 2-loss. I mean, they're due to make that Final Four this year.
And neither of those teams has played anybody quite yet. This is the biggest game for both of them. Michigan's favored by 7. Auburn and Ole Miss, also an 11 o'clock game on ESPN. Ole Miss favored by 15.
Oh, yeah.
I saw a number. This is something else because we wonder if Brian Harson's going to be the coach when Arkansas plays them at the end of the month. The last 3 times Auburn has lost at Ole Miss, the coach was fired. And I don't see any way Auburn's able to stop them because they've been getting gashed on the ground, and Ole Miss is one of the best rushing teams in the country.
Lane Kiffin, he's an offensive guru. He's a guy that if you're a young player out there and you see what he does, you would be interested in him. If he's calling you, offering you a scholarship, he's going to be able to get people. You'd love to play for an offensive guy like that. So yeah, Lane, he's one of the top offensive minds in the SEC, and so I think you're right. I think they win that game going away.
Alabama at Tennessee. Now look, I think Alabama can beat Tennessee without Bryce Young, but man, they had a pretty close shave without him against A&M, and I don't think that's a very A&M team, and that game was in Tuscaloosa. So without Bryce Young and the high-flying Tennessee offense, I know Alabama's good defensively, but still, without Young, if he does not play, do you think that they're susceptible at Neyland?
Well, Tennessee, I mean, if the starting quarterback's out and man, yeah, Alabama's good though. They have a 5-star backup quarterback. That quarterback that played, the more he plays, the better he's going to get. And maybe you make the game a real physical game and run the ball 40 times. You got that quarterback that can run. If you know Bryce Young's coming back the next week, in any Saban team, it feels like they got 12 players on defense. So he's going to coach them up and kind of stop some of the stuff they do well. I don't think it matters. I think whatever quarterback plays for Alabama, I think they go in there, and it might be close early, but I think Alabama's going to get the victory for sure.
All right, let's break right up against it. We got one more segment on halftime, and we got to get to that. Give it a little bit of time. We are brought to you by Washita Farms. You probably tried Lark recently, and if you haven't, well, give it a shot. You can catch a buzz with no booze. Lark has 0 alcohol in it, but it has the perfect balance of hemp-derived THC and CBD, and Lark tastes great. Strawberry, guava, mango, grapefruit, berry are the flavors. There's no sugar, no carbs, no calories, no alcohol. How does it taste that good? Find out for yourself. You can purchase Lark at your local adult beverage store or go to larkhemp.com, and they'll ship it right to your doorstep. You got to be 21 years or older to consume Lark. All right, we are right into the home stretch on halftime. Might have time for a text, 877-377-6963. We wrap up the week after this.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Do you have concerns about the integrity of your roof? Liberty Roofing in Fort Smith and the surrounding area is here and ready to serve you. Liberty Roofing is here for all your roofing needs. Quality roofing services, licensed, insured, and certified. Give Liberty Roofing a call at 650-6231 to get started for a free roof inspection and estimate. Call 650-6231. Liberty Roofing is here to tend to all your roofing needs. Let Liberty Roofing cover you. Check us out on Facebook.
Fishing never stops. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle has everything from jigs to raincoats, Todd Huckabee crappie rods, Bobby Garland crappie jigs, and stay warm and dry with a River West rain suit, the area's largest selection of Zoom plastics, Flash Mob Jr., Kitech swim baits, Mega Bass rods, plus rattle traps, life jackets, and rod and reel repair. Find all the top brands and everything you need at Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, 1 mile east of I-540 on Highway 64. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle.
For over 30 years, our Landry's New Orleans Cafe has been the River Valley's favorite seafood, Cajun, and steakhouse. Now serving the best game day trays to go, including crawfish etouffee, seafood pasta, bourbon street chicken, blackened catfish, and more. They also do catering, pickup, and delivery. Our Landry's New Orleans Cafe, 613 Garrison Street in downtown Fort Smith. Open Tuesday through Thursday from 5 to 8 and Friday and Saturday from 5 to 9. 783-2505.
Now booking Christmas parties.
When it comes to your vehicle dent repairs, you want a local professional that you can trust. Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair is your place. Michael, his family, and team have been in the community for over 30 years and are the best in the business. When all the other pop-up hail damage places have packed up and left town, Littleton's is still here taking care of your vehicle every day. Stay local. Stay with the best. Stay with the name you know and trust. Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair. Highway 112 off I-540 in Pecola.
Why do people do business with First Western? Because First Western builds relationships with all of their customers. They partner for the long haul to help you with your financial goals over all seasons of life. First Western is prompt, responsive, and they deliver with quick answers and on-time loan closings. When is the last time your banker called you? If you are looking for a high level of service and a financial partner who will listen and respond, try First Western. For more information, visit them online at firstwestern.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The Tackle Box just opened up a new box of Wapsie fly fishing supplies. Hackle, tungsten beads, lightning strikes, and mustad hooks. Marabou, chenille, vices, fly tying starter kits, bucktails, and more. Everything for beginners and experts alike. Tackle Box also has a freezer full of frozen bait for all your fishing needs. Skipjack, squid, whole gizzard shad, carp chunks, perch, and more. Be sure to visit them online at tacklebox.online.
The adventure starts at the Tackle Box for sportsmen just like you.
No MSRP markup. At Road Chevrolet, we never price a vehicle over MSRP. Other dealers in our area mark vehicles over MSRP, taking advantage of the times we live in. Not Road Chevrolet. We believe in being honest and looking out for our customers. Wouldn't you rather get a great deal you can feel good about from a locally owned dealership that cares about more than just profit? Before you pay over MSRP, let us show you what we can do. Find new roads. Road Chevrolet, just off I-540 exit 2A Van Buren. Prices you'll love, people you can trust.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
It's a big job just getting by with 9 kids and a wife. But I've been working, man, dang near all my life, and I'll keep on working. Long as my 2 hands are fit to use. I'll drink my beer in a tavern, sing a little bit of these working man blues.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text into Halftime at 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
All right, I'm going to take a look at my Bet Saracen app for the last time, and Arkansas is the road dog. BYU favored 1.5. On the money line, it's minus 115 for BYU. Get some other odds, too, at BetUS.com. 28th year of NFL action. Big weekend of NFL football. Biggest sign-up bonus up to 200%. You can also have fun with hundreds of new casino games, European slots, and live dealers at the tables at BetUS.com. You can call 879-BET-US and get into the action where the game begins. BetUS.com. Wrapping things up here on halftime, an update on the Cleveland Guardians and the Yankees. It's a 2-2 score, bottom of the 5th inning. Guardians have come back from trailing by a score of 2-0. All right, so
who's the favorite, Phil, this year? Who did you have? Who's your when the playoffs started? Who was your National League and American League team?
And I was looking at the Dodgers coming out of the National League or the Braves. I'm a little frightened of the way the Braves have been playing. They were really, really good. But I do think the Dodgers have a little more in the tank. Looking at the Astros, I think, out of the American League, it's a really great lineup. They're pitching well. I don't trust the Yankees. I think Houston is built to last in the American League.
Yeah, I had the Dodgers in the National League, the American League. And you were talking earlier, the 352, so Yankee Stadium, and you talk about Seattle's ballpark. I mean, I didn't know this for the longest time, but all these baseball fields have different dimensions. When you think about, a football field or a basketball court, they're all the same, even though it might not look the same. But these baseball parks are definitely different, and you kind of get them suited for your team, I guess.
I'm looking at the dimensions at Yankee Stadium. They've got to be. I'm guessing they're the shortest in the game. 314 feet down the right field line. So. I mean, that's
100 yards, huh? That's barely right over 100 yards. I mean, that's
you're right.
Yeah,
it's less than 100 meters.
A little 58 degree. I mean, that's not hard to hit it out of the park. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Aaron Judge is more of a pull hitter, but he definitely hits them over the right field fence. A record is a record, though, I guess. All right, so we got football tomorrow. It's a busy day. How does all this start? And I got to remind myself, we're traveling west. It's so much easier to remind yourself that you're an hour earlier when we travel east. So let's see. 2:30 kickoff means an 11:30 airtime for Learfield, 9:30 Arkansas game day, and Hog Reaction later on. I think I got all that right. And Matt, looking forward to having you in studio Monday when we really get this thing going. We'll do it for 3 hours together. Great to have you on board.
I'm excited. Thanks, guys. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. All right. So Matty T will have the Eastside Liquor Halftime podcast coming out soon, and Ruskin and Zach will have you for the next few hours here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. And we're back with you on Monday, so have a great weekend. Woo pig for Matt and Matt. I'm Phil. Get up, get out, and get better.